No, I have work today. This is
You ain't gonna make it.
Wait
Now.
a minute.
Whoa! Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you're scared me.
Property.
What am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Retail giant CVS is gearing up for floods of customers seeking the perfect meaningless piece of crap for their office gift swap. The company is making no secret that when it comes to wasting the obligatory $20 on a useless electronic dartboard or pretzel maker for someone you couldn't care less about, CVS is your best option.
Our incredible selection of worthless shit is just the thing that nobody wants. We guarantee you'll find nothing personal or unique in our store.
The company is offering massive discounts on otherwise unsellable items for holiday parties you don't even want to go to, like the $12 decorative lantern, which is expected to be a big hit with customers who grab the first thing they see when they walk in the store.
I really wanted to get something that said, I don't care about any of you people and I didn't put any effort into this.
CVS also has Hanukkah gifts for coworkers who you think might be Jewish, like candles and those little plastic net bags full of chocolate money.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
This is Free Talk Live. We're kicking off another live Saturday episode of the program where you can take control of the airwaves by dialing in our toll-free line at 855-450-FREE, like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We also have the Discord call-in line rooms over at discord.lrn.fm. That is where you will sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio if you call on our Discord server.
Sure enough.
And with you in the studio, it's me, Ian.
And the captain.
It was actually our Discord server, was Cream Pie there, that turned me on to the breaking news from Fox News. That's a pretty good one there, Captain. I actually have the old news sounder here from, this is like 20 years ago. This was what I ripped off from the old radio station that I worked for.
Breaking news tonight on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, there was something else playing in the background, so I had to turn it down. Anyway, the breaking news in this particular case right now, one of the top stories on Fox News is about our co-host, one of the main hosts here on Free Talk Live, Aria DiMezzo, who is your regular Tuesday night main host here on Free Talk Live. She also co-hosts with us on Wednesday.
Also the lead guitar player of Thud, which I noticed this article doesn't mention at all.
You know,
bastards.
These people, what are you going to do about these free publicity items from people that... Adam Shaw, in this case, from Fox News. I did actually email this guy to let him know that Aria is available for actual interview, because what they did here was they wrote a piece about Aria running for Cheshire County Sheriff here in the southwest corner of New Hampshire. She did get the nomination, as we explained earlier this week, but if you're new to the show or just tuning in for the first time tonight, you probably didn't know that. Our tranny friend, Aria DiMezzo, and co-host here on Free Talk Live, is the Republican nominee in Cheshire County
for sheriff.
She's also a Satanist.
It's pretty fantastic that...
she's also an anarchist.
Yes. And what does the headline say?
Transsexual Satanist anarchist wins GOP nomination for sheriff in New Hampshire County. Subheadline, Aria DiMezzo ran on a slogan of F*** the police.
Can you just read that again, because it's awesome? You don't have to. It's fine.
It's right now in the Above the Fold. So if you go to foxnews.com, as we speak, there's, above the fold, the old newspaper term, right? Where you have a folded newspaper.
Yeah.
The items that are above the fold on the front page are the big stories.
The prominent ones.
Yeah. And so looking at this on my screen here in the studio, there's the top story, which is something about political corruption, donations to Act Blue, whatever, boring. It's the next story underneath that. So it's basically the number 2 story right now, based on its positioning on FoxNews.com.
These are words that I never thought I would ever see in a mainstream media publication.
The words transsexual Satanist anarchist
wins GOP nomination for sheriff in New Hampshire County, followed by Aria DiMezzo ran on a slogan of F the police.
These are the things that we make possible here in Keene, Captain Kickass.
I have this article pulled up on my phone just because, and I'm just going to take a screenshot of it now.
It's a beautiful thing.
So that I can, I don't know, frame it or something.
They did pick a good picture of her, a good screen grab of, she did like a 5-minute long sort of about the candidate statement 2 years ago when she ran for Cheshire County Sheriff the first time.
Right.
So she ran in 2018. She ran as a Libertarian because at that time the Libertarians here in New Hampshire had ballot access at the same level as the Republicans and Democrats, which hadn't happened for the Libertarians since the late 1990s in New Hampshire. And the reason for that is because after the Libertarians got on the ballot with major party ballot access in the 90s, the Republicans and Democrats, of course, teamed up to make it harder for third parties to get on the ballot.
Right.
So they cranked it up.
They don't want anybody else in the club.
That's right. They cranked it from 3%, I think, to 4%, which is, you know, a third of an increase, right? Like it's a pretty big jump. 3 to 4%. In that particular case, they have to get like 4% on a statewide ballot. So if their governor candidate gets 4% or their U.S. Senate candidate gets 4%, then the Libertarians get nominated, or not nominated, but they get that ballot status. They get the coveted major party status.
Yeah.
Well, they had it in 2016 because, in my opinion, it wasn't because we had a great candidate for governor in 2016. You know, he's kind of milquetoast, but he got more than 4%.
Okay.
And so that qualified the party for 2018 for everybody to just kind of easily get on the ballot. You didn't have to go and get petition signatures. You could just file the normal filing fee, which in New Hampshire is next to nothing.
You know far more about the process than I do. When I hear you telling me these things, it sounds like you're explaining to me how to play a board game I've never played.
It is a game. It's a sick game.
It is, yes.
It's a game that I wish we didn't have to play. I wish we could just ignore them, Captain. And I don't blame, folks like you for not wanting to participate in it.
Yeah.
I don't blame you. And I toyed around with that idea myself maybe about a decade ago when I had first moved here and I was pretty burned out on the whole political system, basically. And of course, there's plenty of anarchists around here, right? Like you can, if you want to, like,
there's
opt
a few.
out. If you want to opt out of the system, there's plenty of people who are willing to, be with you and have already opted out, and it's comfortable to do that. But it was brought to my attention that here in New Hampshire, we really can have an impact on the political system. And
just to make my position clear, like I support all of this from an activism standpoint.
Right, you don't oppose what she's doing.
Not at all. I'm not running around and go, oh, you're dumb, blah, blah, blah. No, this is great.
It's amazing.
Man, this is fantastic. I've seen words on a major media outlet that I never thought I would ever see in my lifetime, much less the next generation from now.
I love it.
This is great. As a verbal sort of guy, I love, weird words. I love portmanteaus. I love making up words. This is fantastic nomenclature.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think it costs like $10 to run for sheriff or something like that.
And it's cheap too.
When you run for a major party. And this is kind of a political, this is the issue, right? One of the issues. There's a bunch of issues at hand here, and we're going to get into this article from Fox News about our friend and co-host Aria. But just to point out that the reason why, one of the reasons why Aria ran as a Republican, because some people are going to be mad about that, right? There's a tranny running as a Republican, even if she wasn't a Satanist, even if she wasn't an anarchist. Just having a tranny running as a Republican is newsworthy on its own. And one of the reasons she did that was because she couldn't run as a Libertarian easily, because the Libertarians lost their ballot access. So they gained it in 2016 because of, it was 2016, Trump and Hillary. I mean, a lot of people went for the Libertarian and the Green Party options in that year. More than any other year, they voted third party in 2016. And I think that trickled down to the local races, and that's why our governor candidate got the 4%.
Well, and it's not the first time like a libertarian / anarchist, a freedom-minded person has run either as a Republican or Democrat just to get in or get on.
That has happened a multitude of times here in New Hampshire.
It's a valid strategy.
There's probably close to 24 state reps who are free staters, if you will. This is a terminology to apply to a person who has moved here, has migrated to New Hampshire for more freedom, to be an activist for freedom. There are people who've done this and gotten elected. but they haven't been Aria. They haven't been a red-haired
6 foot whatever.
Yes, I think she's at least 6 feet tall because I think she's a little taller than me.
She's definitely taller than me.
And a real tranny. She puts the effort in. She looks good. And so she's going to be intimidating to a lot of people out there. It's going to be a lot of fun. But anyway, the point I was trying to make about the ballot access is the Libertarians got on. And so they had easy access in 2018. Mm-hmm. Their gubernatorial candidate in 2018 didn't even crack 2%. So then they lost the ballot access for 2020. So Libertarians this year had to collect like thousands of signatures. They had to spend countless hours, hundreds probably of hours, with God knows how much cost to hire petition gatherers in order to get their people, like Darryl Perry, who's actually a former Free Talk Live co-host who's running for governor here in New Hampshire. And they managed to do it, but it's a lot of effort. And so why put in all that effort when you can just drop $10 at the clerk, and
check this other box, and you're good to go.
And you can be a Republican or a Democrat.
Right.
And in her case, the Republicans had not run. There was not a Republican candidate who had filed yet, and it was 2 days before the filing deadline. We were at the State House. We noticed this, and we're like, she's like, I should run for sheriff again because they hadn't filed their usual guy. He didn't file at all. 855-450-FREE. 855-450-3733. We got more coming up. We'll share the story about Aria from Fox, and your calls and thoughts are welcome. You can bring up what you want. This is Free Talk Live.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you get the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at anypayinc.com. anypayinc.com.
News from news.bitcoin.com. The U.S. Federal Reserve announces increased inflation, devaluing your U.S. dollar holdings. Pornhub increases crypto payment options, perverts worldwide rejoice. Leading stock exchanges in the EU list Bitcoin. Revolut adds Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin support. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite. No more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
I'm crazy about My Magic Mud. This is the most important oral care product created this millennium, and I'm not kidding. We all have different opinions on politics and issues, but we all have mouths. And I want yours to be as clean as possible, with teeth as bright as they were meant to be. I will never be without My Magic Mud. It's a little surprising, but man, does it work. If you only listen to one thing I say ever, go to mymagicmud.com and get 20% off with code FTL. mymagicmud.com, code FTL.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
This is Free Talk Live. Toll-free number 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We are just, I'm telling you, man, I don't know. Maybe it should be illegal to have this much fun, Captain.
No, it shouldn't.
No? Okay. Because I'm having a lot of fun with this. This is good stuff. We just saw, thanks to Cream Pie in our Discord server, that the Aria story about her being the nominee for Republican Cheshire County Sheriff candidate, it just hit international news. So the Sun, which is it's like a tabloid, the Sun over in the UK.
Yeah.
They picked the story up, published.
There's the picture too. Nice.
Yeah, published just minutes ago. It only has one comment, but again, it was just published. The Fox News story is up to 7,000 comments in just 4 hours. So we're going to share that with you coming up here. Also, we'll take your calls and thoughts. 855-450-FREE like freedom. Just as the internet is a global network that connects local networks, Intercoin is a global currency platform that enables communities around the world to issue and manage their own currency to circulate among their local population. Intercoin enables fintech innovation on the local community level, leading to stronger communities, greater sustainability, less poverty, and more productivity. Now, Intercoin is attempting to regain some of our freedoms that are threatened on the internet and in meat space. We think it's important here on Free Talk Live, so we accepted $40,000 worth of Intercoin tokens from Intercoin Incorporated for advertising. If you think freedom is important too, check out Intercoin at intercoin.org, and you can invest in this project and potentially make big gains or just be involved and perhaps shape its future. Intercoin.org as we go to your calls and thoughts. Randy is listening in Tallahassee.
Randy.
To WVFT-FM. Go ahead, Randy. Randy in Tallahassee. Do we have you?
Buddy.
Yeah, we got you now. Go ahead.
No, I got you right here. How y'all doing?
Good. What's on your mind, Randy?
Nothing. I'm just going to call and tell you suck.
Well, that's not very creative. 855-450-FREE. Could have thought up something better than that. Jeez.
Wow, that's it?
Yep, that's it.
Jeez.
A drive-by sucking. FoxNews.com.
I might suck, but he swallows.
A self-described, quote, transsexual Satanist anarchist, unquote, has won the Republican nomination for the sheriff's job in Cheshire County, New Hampshire. A victory, she says, proves, quote, the system is utterly and hopelessly broken, unquote. And I just love how they're using her. They will quote her more in this article from her recent post on her campaign site, which is Aria, the number 4 sheriff.com. Aria DiMezzo, who ran with the campaign slogan, F the Police, says she had expected to lose to a write-in candidate, won the nomination for Cheshire County Sheriff on Tuesday. The victory was first reported by Free Keene. They got that wrong. It says Inside Sources. No. Free Keene was the first to break the news. But kudos to Inside Sources for picking the story up. It was the gentleman there, Damian Fisher, who writes for the Union Leader as well. He's like a freelancer.
Oh, yeah.
He's the one who interviewed Aria and ran a piece, which is what turned Fox News on. So thanks to him for doing that. In a Friday blog post on her site, DiMezzo said she opposes a system that allows allowed thousands of people to walk into a voting booth and vote, quote, despite knowing absolutely nothing about the person they were nominating to the most powerful law enforcement position in the county. She said further, I'm running for sheriff because I oppose that very system, and the sheriff has the most hands-on ability in Cheshire County to oppose that system. Saying further, the system that let you down by allowing me, the freaking transsexual Satanist anarchist, be your sheriff candidate is the same system I'm attacking. I'm sorry, and I know it hurts to hear, but that system is a lie.
You know,
wow. That's in Fox News right now.
That's an amazing quote. And also, I just realized that that means she has the acronym, the same acronym as the TSA. And I prefer this one over the other one.
Oh, yeah, transsexual Satanist anarchist.
Yeah, but it would be really cool if the TSA suddenly became supporters.
Don't get your hopes up on that one, Captain.
I can dream. Come on, man.
Let's go to Joshua. He's also in Tallahassee. Joshua, you're on Free Talk Live listening to WVFT.
Hi, how are you guys doing today?
Good, Joshua. What's on your mind tonight?
Well, I don't share the same views as the last person that just called from Tallahassee.
That's all right. We won't hold him against you.
Say it again?
I said we won't hold him against you. Go ahead.
Oh, for sure. I just kind of had a couple questions regarding what's going on right now as far as the stimulus package, what both sides are doing, how it's affecting the American people, and kind of what your guys' opinions and views on it are as far as, does it seem like any side is actually here for the American people? Or
no, they're screwing people. I mean, that's what they do. Both sides. I mean, look, I don't even have to look at the so-called stimulus package to tell you what it is. It's them screwing you and taking wealth from you and your children. I'm going to put you on hold there for a moment. It's a little noisy in the car. But taking wealth from you and your children and their children down the line, stealing that by printing money out.
Yep.
And then trillions of it, by the way. The deficit this year is the largest ever in the U.S. federal government. I think it was like $4 or $6 trillion or something ridiculous like that.
Yeah, it's way high.
And the year's not over yet, so they're not done. They haven't broken for Christmas holiday. They're not done. And they're going to print out a bunch of money, and that is what is called inflation. And so when the money supply inflates, then the money that you have becomes worth less, which means your buying power goes down, which means your standard of living goes down, and it means that the wealth that you had, if you had some in savings, for instance, is going to be transferred from you and everybody else who's not in their club to the people in their club.
Right.
That's pretty much what's going to happen, and that is what is happening. Joshua, go ahead with your thoughts.
Yeah, and I completely understand what you're saying. You know, I just wrote a paper recently about how minimum wage hasn't changed very much. Really, it's changed, I believe, 16 cents since 1987, the average minimum wage. Yet the cost of inflation has changed 200, I believe 250%. I mean, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me, but in order to pull that up, but just the cost of what it is for me to live, being in the lower impoverished class, versus the cost of what it is for someone from, let's say, the elitist group to live, how they can afford to pay all of their bills and still have an excess of an insane amount of money. Yet I'm struggling every single day. Me and my wife work about 110, 120 hours between her, myself, and her sister that all live in our house.
Wow.
And my children, and we're unable to afford basic needs. We have to fight just to be able to keep the lights on, the air conditioning. I mean, this is Tallahassee. It's hot all the time. So just to keep the air conditioning on, and all I hear every single day is this argument going on between both parties where they're like, oh, well, we both have the American people. We both have the thoughts of the American people in our hearts, of course. What needs to happen is this next stimulus bill needs to go out, and it needs to have a stimulus check.
What they have,
they come up to it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. What they have is the short hairs and the balls of the American people. That's what they have. They've got them in their hands, and they're squeezing them, and really there's nothing much you can do about it.
And I don't think there is ever. I mean, everybody talks about, this movement that needs to happen so that we can take back America. We can take back America. But then the same thing happens every year. We vote in a moron who only speaks for the people that have money.
Which old molester do you want running the criminal gang?
Old molester. Which one do you want?
Thank you, Josh, for the call tonight, man. I definitely appreciate it. If anything, the best solution, and it's a political one, is secession. And Aria DiMezzo actually gets to mention that in the Fox News article coming up here. We'll share more of it. Thank you, Joshua. We got more of your calls and thoughts coming up. 855-450 free. It's Free Talk Live.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur. And Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work. So I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin. And, all right, I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
There are basically 2 types of advertising, direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live. Toll-free number here, 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. Ian and the Captain here in the studio tonight. We are talking about Aria, our co-host. She's making big news right now as we speak. This story is blowing up. Lawofficer.com, a pro-police cop website, just ran the story. The UK Sun just ran the story, so it's now getting international headlines. And of course, Fox News is where this explosion is coming from right now. By the time you wake up tomorrow, I would be shocked if there's not an AP report out about this, picked up by dozens of newspapers. I mean, I don't want to get cocky here, but you can kind of see these things coming when you've seen these blow-ups before. If you want to call it viral or whatever, I don't know at what point you can call it viral.
This has certainly got the potential.
It definitely has viral potential,
just based on the Fox headline alone. I repeat. Transsexual Satanist anarchist wins GOP nomination for sheriff in New Hampshire County. Subtext: Aria DiMezzo ran on the slogan of F the police.
Yes, she did, and is. She is the GOP nominee here in Cheshire County. That means she's going up against the incumbent, a 4-term, this is now he's running for his 5th term, I think, incumbent. So he's been the sheriff basically for most of the last decade. He's a Democrat. Interestingly, though, he used to be a Republican, and he changed his party affiliation back with the 2008 Obama campaign.
Weird.
Yeah. He used to drive a Jeep that had the license plate with a custom plate on it, Peace.
Yeah.
And yet he's had violent incidents on more than one occasion in the past.
Well, sure. He's in a job that requires violence.
Sure. But, some of them are less likely to be prone to it than others, and he's been caught.
Did he get rid of the custom plate or whatever?
I don't know if he still has that plate. Okay. I have not seen him driving a non-sheriff's related vehicle for a long time. So we're going to keep you up to date as this campaign continues to develop. There's more to the story from the Fox News piece. We didn't get through the first half of that.
Started, really.
So we'll share more of that with you as well. And I want you to know about what has happened with Divvy earlier this year from mid-March to mid-July. Divvy, which is a newer, easy-to-use cryptocurrency we've been promoting here on Free Talk Live, it did jump up in value by 10x. And that was pretty impressive. Now, obviously, they would like that to continue, and you never know what's going to happen tomorrow. So we can't make any predictions about what's going to happen with Divvy. But so far, we've been pretty happy with our decision to hook up with them a year ago. You can go to divvyproject.org and begin earning Divvy by starting a masternode or staking the coin. They even have a lottery for people who stake Divvy. You can go to divvyproject.org. That's DIVI project.org as we go to your calls and thoughts. Charlie's on the line in Tallahassee, listening to WVFT FM. Go ahead, Charlie.
Hey there.
Hey.
I first called in just to, say screw you to that first guy that called from Tallahassee. I'm glad we had another Joshua on the last segment. We love you here, man. I had no idea we had these listeners here in Tallahassee, but just something to think about. Up here in Leon County, Florida, we only had Democrat run. Maybe we need our own Republican Satanist transgender.
Yeah, you need another tranny down there. We need to duplicate Aria. We need Aria clones.
Let the cloning begin.
I have a lot of Satanists that I'm friends with, so maybe I could pull something next time around.
But that's what happened here was the guy who normally runs against the Democrat sheriff didn't run.
Right.
He's old. I mean, he's like probably in his mid to late 70s, and he was, I'm just guessing, he was probably like, you know what, I've lost 4 times in a row. And the last time he lost by more, I think, than he lost the previous time. So it's like, why keep fighting a losing battle?
Kicking a dog when he's down and all that kind of thing.
Why not just retire and, enjoy the rest of your life with your family? So that's my guess. And so he didn't file. And I guess the Republican Party is so weak that they couldn't find anyone else. They tried, right? They must have gone around to some of their cop buddies and said, hey, will you run for Sheriff? Earl's not going to run this year. Will you run?
Right.
And they couldn't find anybody. And so they got Aria.
Yeah, it is so strange. I don't want to assume, but I'd imagine most of these police members are Republican, but maybe they're just scared to run. I have no idea. Because last time around, we had another guy, who's actually a really good guy, a bit more on the libertarian edge, actually owns a gun range in town, real cool guy. It's a shame that I didn't run, but I mean, like you said, run 3 or 4 times, especially in a Democrat area. The Republicans definitely aren't going to go for, so much of a...
And it could be, and rightly so if this is the case, it could be that because of the, we'll say, anti-police sentiment that has been making its way around all of the news and propaganda outlets, that perhaps some people are no longer willing to run for things like sheriff because of this sort of anti-police sentiment. And again, I say it's rightly so.
Yeah, well, then stop Aria, I guess.
Hey, Charlie, thanks for sharing your thoughts tonight. I definitely appreciate hearing from you, man. And thanks for the compliment. I appreciate that, too. Let's go to Jerome. He's on the line in Charleston, South Carolina. Jerome, what are your thoughts?
I don't live there. So, hey, leave me out of that crazy nonsense.
Wait a minute. What would happen if there was a trans anarchist Satanist running in your area as a Republican candidate?
You'd vote for her, right?
Yeah.
All right, cool.
Yeah, I'd vote for it, and then I'm going to go after I vote for him. I'm going to go and play quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. Yeah.
Well, shouldn't you go play quarterback for a professional football team? Oh,
very funny. Hey, and by the way, I'm going to do without any training camp. I'm going to just get up off my bed on my couch after I had about a whole cake and some milk, and then I'm going to go play quarterback for the Cowboys. How's that grab you?
I'd root for you.
Does that grab you like Trump grabs women? Speaking of Trump, did you happen to hear the interview he did with old Bob Woodward there? You know,
no, who's that?
He says, yeah. Oh, you didn't hear about that, huh?
I don't know who that is. Who's Bob Woodward?
Yeah, a reporter. He's a longtime reporter.
Okay.
In Washington. The guy who did the book about the story about Nixon and and Watergate and all that.
Okay.
Him and Carl Bernstein.
Okay.
He did an interview with Trump
what was notable
ago.
about this interview with Trump? What did he say? What did he do?
Well, what was notable was that Trump told Woodward one story about, hey, I knew this virus was very deadly to the American public. I knew it, but I went out and told everybody, hey, don't worry, okay? It's only like the flu. It'll go away. It's a Democrat hoax.
It seems like it's been less dangerous than the flu, honestly. I mean, looking at the numbers, it's really unimpressive.
Oh, close to like 200,000 people dead?
Yeah, but the thing is, those numbers are they're inflated, Jerome. So
no, they're not.
Yeah, they are, because the people who are reporting them get paid to report them.
For some facts here, per the CDC, since February 1st, 45 American kids under 15 have died of COVID. 13,088 have died of all other causes.
American kids?
Kids, yes.
Okay.
Since February 11th, 11,371 Americans under 55 have died of COVID, most with serious comorbidities, but 189,592 have died of all other causes.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of other causes.
So you're agreeing with that lady that called you last week, talking trash to me behind my back, huh? But I'm stupid,
I don't remember. No, I don't think you're stupid, Jerome.
I'm just pointing out some facts.
I know I'm not. She's the stupid one because she voted for Trump.
I don't think people are stupid. I generally, I mean, there may be some stupid people out there.
You don't love Trump?
I think that there's a big difference between being ignorant and being stupid. Like, I'm ignorant about a lot of things.
Yeah, me too.
But in this particular case, Trump is a liar, just like every other politician. So, you can't believe what he's going to say.
He said he likes chaos, okay? He likes confusion. Well, how does he like it now? How do all those people that voted for him, how do you like this darn mess we're in? How do we get out of this?
I suspect they're going to like it better than Joe Biden. I don't think you're going to see a whole lot of people cross over parties. The Democrats are going to vote for Joe Biden. The Republicans are going to vote for Donald Trump. And the decision makers may end up being the unaffiliated voters, the people who are sort of in the middle on this, Jerome.
Trump questions Biden's mental acuity. What kind of acuity do you have where you would tell a reporter the truth about what's really going on?
Hold that thought. We're coming up.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
Attention radio listeners, if you're concerned about the coming chaos after the November elections, this will be an extremely important message. Here's why. No matter what the outcome in November, catastrophic social upheaval is a very real possibility. Here's why this is important. Listen, we all know that silver and gold have been historic hedges against the uncertain waves of social chaos and unstable currencies. But did you know that there's been times in the past, during times of extreme hardship, when Americans put another store of value above even silver and gold? It's true, open pollinated seeds have been and could very well be the ultimate store of value in the coming hard times ahead. Go to survivalseedbank.com to get heirloom seeds below wholesale. Visit survivalseedbank.com this week and get hundreds of dollars in free bonuses. Beat the coming chaos, beat rising food prices, but above all, don't wait. Beat the crowds by claiming your own Survival Seed Bank today.
With a Mactac Carbine conversion unit, you can turn an XD family Glock or 1911 handgun into a carbine rifle in seconds and have it shipped right to your door, no FFL required. Now, Mactac is excited to announce our pistol carbine conversion unit. More compact with a 12-inch barrel and an arm brace, proving once again that Mactac is the world's most versatile handgun accessory. For a limited time, go to handgunconversions.com. That's handgunconversions.com and use coupon code RADIO to receive $35 off any carbine purchase.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
It's Free Talk Live, and you can bring up anything you want. We got more to say on our co-host, Aria DiMezzo, being nominated as the GOP candidate here in Cheshire County, New Hampshire, for sheriff, which story just got picked up this evening by Fox News late this afternoon. Mm-hmm. And within 4 hours, there was like 8,000 or 7,000 comments on the story. It's blowing up. It's at the top of their website, above the fold. And lots, of course, news is a Me Too business, so once one big site picks it up, it's like it's bound for the other ones.
It's like government, monkey see, monkey do.
Yeah. So and I'm grateful for that in this particular case because it means Aria will get more attention, and she's out there messaging a pure, voluntarist, anarchist stance. She's not going to be watering down her message for these media people. So I mean, this is going to be great. There's going to be all kinds, I'm sure, of interviews. And does she have a chance to win? Yeah.
I don't know, but
There's
these
a
are
chance.
some of the greatest headlines I think I have ever read, just as far as verbal content. You can't write stuff like this. You can't imagine.
You can't
this
imagine
being
it
written.
happening.
Yeah. This stuff writes itself. It's pretty great.
But here in Keene, we have made this possible, Captain, because of the activism movement here.
I would also like to point out that all of these headlines that are coming out, the Fox News one, the Daily Mail, whatever the other one was that we saw or we mentioned earlier, these are all factual statements. These are true.
Yes,
these are some of the most true headlines you have ever read, because somebody, jokingly referred to it as fake news. No, none of this is fake news. In fact, it is some of the most real news you have ever read.
They didn't get all the details right, and we'll get into that if we get a chance. But your calls continue here. So let's go to Jerome. He was making a point. I wanted to make sure, Jerome, you had a chance to get your point out. So please, go ahead.
Hey, you said the person that's running for sheriff, right?
Yeah, Aria DiMezzo, our co-host.
Yeah. Well, hey, David Duke got votes when he ran as a Republican. Hey, they put a guy in the White House that sleeps with porn stars, but he talked about Bill Clinton's, sexual oddities.
Oh, man, wait till you hear about Aria's sexual proclivities. They didn't get into that in Fox News, but a little more Googling, you might find a certain sex video.
Hey, as the church lady once said, could it be sexual?
Thank you, Jerome, for the call tonight. I appreciate it, man. Let's continue. Dana is on the line in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Dana, you're listening to WTKG. Go ahead.
Okay, so it was perfect that I followed Jerome because I am that woman that he was referring to that called me stupid. As I explained to you two guys last week, Saturday, the difference, and I didn't call him stupid, I said he was suffering from premeditated stupidity, and I explained it. If you're ignorant, that just simply means you don't know.
Mm-hmm.
There is no excuse to not know things. If you deliberately stay in the darkness or you make up lies like Jerome does, then you are suffering from premeditated stupidity.
Now, what are you saying? You said he made up a lie. What are you saying? Which lie?
I'll open with what he opened with. The first thing he said was he accused Trump of grabbing women. I have heard this over and over again.
Well, I mean, Trump admitted to it.
I actually watched the night that Trump just happened to be on that program with Billy Bush. So I watched the thing myself on television while it was happening, not after the fact on YouTube.
Okay.
He said that when you have money and or power, that women will let you do anything you want to them.
Right, and don't say what he said, obviously, but,
Okay, let me finish.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I please finish?
Yeah.
So then he said, so then I say, all you got to do is look at the NBA and the NFL. There's a whole lot of baby mamas out there. There are a lot of women that will get pregnant because they think the oldest trick in the book, instead of getting a man to marry you because he loves you, he respects you, you're intelligent.
Get a meal ticket.
Get pregnant.
Yeah.
So they have a meal ticket.
Right.
But Trump never said he actually did that.
But that's basically what was implied. I mean, come on. And I heard the clip too. And Dana, thank you for the call tonight. You familiar with what she's talking about, right, Captain?
Yeah.
Where he's on this tour bus and he's being interviewed, and it's like the mic's still on, but he might not. He might not have known that it was on. He said that if you're rich and powerful, you can grab a woman by the what, and and he said that. I mean, maybe he didn't do it, but the way he said it, the sort of all-knowing, informed way of this is what happens, this is what you can do, it suggests that he has had the ability to do that and get away with it. That's the suggestion.
I've had the opportunity to be around people with fame, legitimate fame, rock and roll, heavy metal people, right, that kind of a thing.
Right.
And I have witnessed firsthand people of the opposite or even the same sex, depending on their preference, throw themselves at these famous people.
Oh yeah, they want that to happen.
Yeah,
they want to be grabbed by that person.
So I mean, to say that
and if they didn't, if they didn't want it, then certainly somebody would be accusing him of it, but they haven't.
I fully believe that he has done so. But it's a belief, right? Just because I've seen that kind of a thing where people throw themselves at fame or fortune, or fame and fortune.
And if that's what the
person
person who was throwing themselves at him wanted to happen, then it was fine.
Yeah.
I wouldn't do that personally, but I'm not them. If they're consenting adults, then okay.
I've seen and taught and been through enough HR courses or even sessions for employers and things like that to know that really the difference between sexual harassment and flirting is whether it's wanted or not.
Yeah, that's a great point. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. John is in Dover, Delaware, listening to WDOV. Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I want to comment on Jerome's comments once again. The guy calls up every week with the most hatred I've ever heard in my life for Donald Trump. Actually, I can't say that. That's why I got kind of mixed up, because everybody seems to hate the guy. It's like ridiculous, man. Every single day, it's something absolutely different. They have some crazy scandalous plot to get this guy, man. It's not going to work. These guys are the biggest player haters I've ever seen in my whole entire life.
It's the player haters ball.
Hey, you know what? And you know what Jerome was saying about, Bill Clinton and Trump, even doing a comparison is gross. Bill Clinton actually raped women, like physically raped them. Donald Trump made some locker room talk comment, man. I mean, let's keep it real, Jerome. Your bias is disgusting, man. And it's people like you that keep us divided, bro. You and your buddies in the news meeting.
Let's be clear about something. Donald Trump and Bill Clinton used to be buddies, and maybe they still are, right? Like they were photographed together at parties, and so they were close, right?
Does that mean that Donald Trump raped women?
No,
Because
I'm
Bill
not saying
Clinton
that.
did.
I'm not saying that, but
As a matter of fact, during the last debate, what Donald Trump did, which I think was ingenious, is he stuck 8 of the victims of Bill Clinton right in the front row so Hillary could look and make the eye.
That's pretty awesome. I got to give him credit. That's pretty entertaining.
Yeah. Exactly, man.
And that's what I feel. That's how I feel about the guy. I mean, I don't hate him. I just think he's entertaining. I mean, he's like a clown.
He is,
it's hilarious.
Man. You're entertaining, dude. And you want to talk about player haters? The world has become a whole gang of player haters, man.
Well, people have always hated success. I mean, people have always hated people who've been.
Absolutely right.
Yeah. John, thanks for your call, man. I appreciate hearing from you tonight.
Hate. All the hate.
Oh, just you wait, man. You want to talk about hate? Aria DiMezzo is going to be getting some major hate. Oh, I bet the death threats are already rolling in.
I hate the way he said he hates your hate.
Right, because not only is Aria, scary to people because she's a tranny or whatever. There's certain people who are made really uncomfortable by that.
An over 6 foot tall tranny, by the way.
Yeah.
Imposing figure.
Not only that, but she's running for sheriff. So she's an anarchist running for sheriff. So she'll receive hate from the people that just hate everybody who's trans, just because she's trans. And then she'll also receive hate from everybody who loves the state, because she's a threat to the status quo.
Right.
Now, look, if she gets elected, the state isn't going to come a-crumbling down or anything like that. But the people who believe in it will see it that way. They will see her election, if that happens. And it is possible. Whether it's likely or not, I don't know. But it's definitely possible. If she gets elected, they will see that as a major dent to the state's legitimacy.
And particularly as she is the high priestess of the Reformed Satanic Church, I think the religious folks are going to be dishing up a walloping helping of hate as well.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, this is the most maximum hateable event that I think I've seen in a long time.
And the greatest headlines.
Let the hate flow. 855-450-FREE like freedom. Because the more you hate, the more publicity we're going to get out of it. So bring it. Be sure you share the story and tell everybody how much you hate this tranny. More coming up here. It's Free Talk Live, hour 2 next.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of governments around the world killing innocent people? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin is money that cannot be inflated or controlled by any state. By continuing to use their money, you're perpetuating the killing. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available to you now. Learn it, use it, spread it.
Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. It's Bitcoin.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next, after the news, here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From bad to worse in the West, I'm Lisa Brady. Fox News says fire crews wage an epic battle against widespread wildfires that have already killed over 20 people. We're now learning about how many people are missing. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has more live.
Well, Lisa, while at least 4 people have been killed specifically in Oregon wildfires, Governor Kate Brown said today dozens of people remain missing. In California, at least 10 people have been killed in one fire alone, the North Complex fire, where 2,000 structures have burned in Butte County. The sheriff there says another 16 people are missing. California Governor Gavin Newsom toured the damage.
I'm a little bit exhausted that we have to continue to bait this issue. This is a climate dam emergency.
As multiple fires burn, resources are stretched thin. Firefighters from Israel, Canada, and New Jersey, as well as even closer states, are assisting here, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. For the second time in a month, a U.S. brokered peace deal is reached in the Middle East. Bahrain agreeing to recognize Israel just days before Israel and the UAE sign their agreement to normalize relations at the White House next week. President Trump in an Oval Office announcement today saying he's hopeful of more deals.
We think ultimately you'll have most countries join, and you're going to have the Palestinians in a very good position. They want to come in. They're going to want to come in because all of their friends are in.
And so far, Palestinian leaders have strongly condemned the agreements as a betrayal of their cause and the ongoing push for statehood. Earlier in the day, both the president and Democratic nominee Joe Biden each attending ceremonies to mark 19 years since the 9/11 terror attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people. Biden visiting both New York's Ground Zero and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where he met with victims' families. Mixed finish to the week on Wall Street. The Dow up 131, the NASDAQ down 66. America's listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes. Because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to DIY, need design help, or prefer measure and install services, they do it all with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. If you're nervous, know that Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them do the whole installation.
Go to Blinds.com now to get this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Plus, pay over 24 months at 0% APR on qualifying purchases with PayPal Credit Easy payments through 9/17/2020.
As of March 1st, 2020, new PayPal credit accounts have a variable purchase APR of 25.49% that will vary with the market based on the prime rate. Minimum interest charge is $2, subject to credit approval. Visit Blinds.com/PayPal. Other rules and restrictions may apply.
A court hearing today for the officers charged in George Floyd's death. His brother filling us outside the courthouse in Minneapolis.
We need to stop this. This is wrong. We need justice, and we demand that.
Family members urging peaceful protests to continue. A lot of questions facing the judge.
No decision on motions in Minneapolis in the case against 4 officers accused in the death of George Floyd on a possible change of venue or to combine cases. Though Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill did disqualify Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman and 3 other prosecutors, saying a private meeting that they held with a medical examiner makes them now witnesses in the case.
Today's hearing marked another step in what will be a long process toward justice.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, the judge, still also has yet to rule on motions to dismiss. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
One of the federal prosecutors helping to lead an investigation into the origins of the Russia probe has resigned.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
According to a study released Thursday by the Princeton University Department of Biology, this local 2-year-old woodland chipmunk has crafted a far more secure and dependable plan for the future than 8 out of 10 Americans. Reporters spoke to citizens to get their view on the study.
Clearly, this chipmunk is pretty impressive. I mean, he wakes up every morning and says, I need to collect acorns and berries for the winter. He sets goals for himself and he gets it done.
If he has to make a burrow in a tree stump, that's exactly what he does. He doesn't pause and have a snack and lay around for a few hours.
Out of nearly 40 separate interviews with Americans, 33 told reporters they were very impressed by the chipmunk's continued display of foresight, personal responsibility, and pragmatic decision-making when considering his own future.
He's preparing for winter, he's building a home, and he's trying to get enough nutrients to make it throughout the rest of the day. All this while being worried about maybe getting eaten by a wolf or an owl or something. Earlier this week, the electricity went off in my home because I forgot to pay my bill. It's the second time this year.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
It's Free Talk Live. Kicking off the second hour here. We got more to say on our co-host, Aria DiMezzo,
We got something to say.
receiving the nomination for GOP sheriff's candidate. In case you didn't know, Aria's transsexual, and she's a Satanist, and she's an anarchist, and she's now on the front page of FoxNews.com. The Daily Mail's now covered the story over in the UK. The Sun in the UK. The story's breaking as we speak, basically. I mean, it's a few days old, but of course the mainstream media is always a few days, late in picking up a lot of this sort of really interesting news like this. With you tonight, it's Ian.
The Reverend Captain Kickass is here.
And we're going to talk more about Aria and what's going on and the Fox News coverage, which we haven't really even shared half the story with you yet.
Also, she's the lead guitarist for a local band.
That's right, FUD, which you can see on the Free Keen YouTube channel. You can see the FUD concert from Forkfest.
Which they haven't mentioned in any of these articles, but they also continually refer to her hosting of this show without naming the show as an internet radio show, which it is not.
No, it's a radio show.
We are nationally syndicated, but also broadcast on the internet.
Sure. So we're going to get back into that story, but your calls come first here on Free Talk Live. Now, I don't know if I had a chance to bring this call fully on. Is Art there? Art, are you with us?
I'm definitely here.
All right, great. Yeah, calling from
Can you hear me okay?
Parnell Correctional Institute there. So you're in jail. Or prison. Is it prison or jail, Art?
It's prison.
You're in prison. Okay. There in Michigan. So what's on your mind tonight?
Well, a couple things. I just want to give you a quick update on the prison lawsuit that I filed about 90 days ago. It was a class action lawsuit. 52 prisoners got together, and we petitioned the federal U.S. District Court. The name of the case is Arthur J. Rouse et al., meaning everybody else, all 52 prisoners, versus the governor et al., director, warden, etc. But anyhow, we basically filed on the COVID violations and stuff like that. We asked for some release for some of the people there that are 70-some years old, all kinds of medical conditions, Vietnam vets,
nice.
just etc. But anyhow, the judge pretty much put the case on hold, didn't do anything for like a month or two. So finally, I filed an emergency appeal to the Sixth Circuit, same name of the case.
Nice.
And anyhow, and they basically, the clerk there put a hold on it too. So I went to the United States Supreme Court. Of course,
really?
Granted, that was September the 1st. We filed with the Chief Justice. We filed with all of the associate justices, and we also filed with the chief clerk of the U.S. Supreme Court. They usually just send the documents back, 166 documents, and showing all of the violations, all the complaint letters, the grievances, etc. So basically, I just want to let other people know that just keep fighting out there, because prisoners, pro se prisoners, must think outside the box. And they actually gave me an attorney yesterday, September 11th, and she paid the filing fees, got everything taken care of, and we're putting it on the fast track now. So
nice.
Well, best of luck to you with that, Art. I hope that you're able to succeed in getting a court to actually pay attention and rule in the right favor.
Which is a miracle in itself. But anyhow, but just a quick shout out there for other prisoners that are also fighting too. Number one, use Facebook groups. It's extremely important. That's our new media that we have out there. Go to Facebook groups and then put in whatever the name of the prison is. You can get other people, and they're scared to death of it in the prison. Every time I send something out I send out to 10 different individuals and ask them to put it on Facebook groups, and next morning there's some results. So that's the quickest results I've had on anything in the prison setting. And of course, anybody wants any more information, they can always go to JPay. And they can just go ahead and JPay me and send me a prison email. Of course, just put in the prison number 274237, and I can update them and let them know what's going on, because it's definitely an uphill battle. And that's the way we're going to expose the darkness in the prison, is by that Facebook groups. It's really working.
Thank you, Art, for your call tonight. I appreciate the update, and good luck. Thank you again.
I do love the use of social media to assist in shining the light on particularly victimless crimes, but folks in prison, and the things that are done to them that shouldn't, that are inhumane and all that kind of thing. That's something that I enjoy myself.
Well, hopefully Aria will be shining the light on victimless crimes in her campaign, as it's one of her major issues.
Indeed,
is to end victimless crimes here in New Hampshire. But let's go to more of your calls and thoughts. James in New Jersey, listening online via YouTube. Go ahead, James. James in New Jersey, going once. James in New Jersey going twice. We'll see if...
hello?
Hello, James.
Oh, can you guys hear me?
We have you now. Go ahead.
Oh, thank God. Okay. First of all, I just wanted to say that I recently am a COVID-19 survivor.
Really?
I was in the hospital for about, I'd have to say probably 2 weeks.
Wow.
And it was horrible. It was the worst thing I've ever experienced. Because not only did I have it, but I also have a low immune system because I had a heart transplant, and I survived it. They gave me some medicines, and they said to keep me rest. So I just stood there, and I survived. So it's a scary thing. It's a real.
How old are you?
I'm 20. I just.
You
turned
needed
20.
a heart transplant at age 20?
No. My heart transplant. I got my heart transplant when I was 9 months old.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yes, when I was 9 months old, I got my heart transplant. And surprisingly, I haven't had a rejection yet at all. They say, a lot of heart transplants go into rejection at, my age.
Really?
But I haven't gotten into one rejection yet.
That's great. I have heard some talk, because I do have a friend of mine that did have a heart transplant done, although probably... a little older than you, probably at 30 or so, 35 maybe, he had one done. But they do say that the fact that you had it done so young actually bodes well for you, because, the body develops around the new organ instead of, it rejecting it because it's foreign.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yes.
So James, you're pointing out that coronavirus for you as an immunocompromised person was a pretty tough time.
Yes. My parents couldn't my parents can come visit me.
it's sad.
I begged the doctors to let them see me.
Wow, isn't
But
that sad?
they just said that we got to take God, what is that
Precautions.
I guess masks don't work in order to let them see their own son.
Yeah, that's what I said. And to top it all off, I'm autistic, so you can imagine what it's like to be in a hospital without your family.
Oh, thanks for sharing that story tonight, James. I do appreciate hearing from you. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Mike is in Gold Bar, Washington, listening to KBKW. Hello, Mike.
Hey, you guys, long time no hear. I was going to call and ask. I was going to talk about melatonin,
okay.
The sleep aid. But then while I was on hold, the convict was on the phone. Was he a convict?
Yeah, he's a prisoner.
So I would like to – this is a tough thing because I have a ex-wife whose son has actually – I can't believe how time flies – spent 17 years at Airway Heights Prison for raping a 2-year-old. And he's getting out next week from prison. And, he only got convicted of rape of a 2-year-old, but he didn't get convicted of rape of his sister or one of his brothers or a stepsister, things that they don't know about. So I called Governor Inslee probably 100 times asking him to reconsider this particular individual's case because of, like when he stayed with us before he committed this heinous crime, he actually had Everett Police Department in Washington State coming to get DNA from him for other possible crimes. So I know some people deserve to get out of prison, but that's a tough one after the crime that he committed. And I can't believe that it's already been 17, 18 years, and he's already out like it was yesterday when you find out. Anyway, so that's my
Well, I suspect his life is not going to be very easy.
Do you guys know anything about melatonin? Because I know you have really weird dreams from melatonin, and I only use like 6 milligrams of melatonin, and I'm also a marijuana smoker, and that's it for drugs, no alcohol. But
I don't know anything about it. What about you, Captain?
I don't know anything about it. Dream.
I've only heard
another phone call.
Yeah, I've only heard about melatonin in its use for that. Have you tried CBD for sleeping?
No, I haven't.
You might look into that as well, particularly if you're a marijuana smoker. CBD has, helped some folks, so maybe have a look.
Also, I would also ask people on the internet, like, what? Because it's just the two of us sitting here, but the internet has a whole lot of people who probably have had a lot of experience with melatonin and such. Thank you, Mike, for the call tonight. You can take control of the airwaves. More about our tranny sheriff friend coming up.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org.
News from news.bitcoin.com. The U.S. Federal Reserve announces increased inflation, devaluing your U.S. dollar holdings. Pornhub increases crypto payment options, perverts worldwide rejoice. Leading stock exchanges in the EU list Bitcoin. Revolut adds Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin support. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining, and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for Forkfest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Forkfest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and Forkfest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for Forkfest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow Forkfesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the Forkfest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for Forkfest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Forkfest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and Forkfest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for Forkfest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow Forkfesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the Forkfest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
It's Free Talk Live. The toll-free number here is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. As we continue here with you in the studio tonight, you've got Ian.
And the captain.
Also, Free Talk Live brought to you by Bitcoin.com. That is where you can go if you are new to cryptocurrency or if you're old school. Either way, there's really interesting resources available to you there at Bitcoin.com. If you're new, you should go into the Get Started area or Getting Started and go ahead and watch a 2 or 3 minute long video to give you an overview of what Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, and cryptocurrency is all about. It's a great place to do that. Or you want to get the latest news headlines, just go to news.bitcoin.com. You can start there and be up to date on what's happening in the world of crypto.
It's really good for beginners. I've sent a bunch of people there.
So true. And it's Ian and the captain in the studio here. The toll-free number tonight, if you want to join us, 855-450-FREE. That's 855-450-3733. We are sharing with you earlier in the show the Fox News story that is catching fire as we speak. It's been up for several hours now with over 8,000 comments on the front page as of an hour ago. I haven't looked in the last few minutes, but it was the number 2 story on, at least as far as its positioning on the Fox page. Fox News front page, and we'd started sharing the actual text of the piece. I don't know if they've made an actual video about it yet, but I know they have. They're seeking her out for potential interviews, so we may end up seeing. She may end up being on one of those talking head shows on Fox, which would be pretty cool. So it'll be awesome, and we're going to be following it, of course, as closely as we possibly can here at Free Talk Live. But I want to pick up where she was quoted in this story. Now, they didn't interview her for the piece. What they did was they picked quotes from her campaign website, which is Aria, the number 4 sheriff.com. So they just grabbed some quotes from her articles. She says, "I'm running for sheriff because I oppose that very system, and the sheriff has the most hands-on ability in Cheshire County to oppose that system. The system that let you down by allowing me, the freaking transsexual Satanist anarchist, to be your sheriff candidate is the same system I'm attacking. I'm sorry, and I know it hurts to hear, but that system is a lie. The entire thing is a lie. It's broken from beginning to end, and my existence as your sheriff candidate is merely how this reality was thrown into your face," she said. Isn't that amazing?
She is well spoken.
Yeah.
Having interacted with her on many an occasion.
She's great for this job.
Yeah.
for this candidacy. Inside Sources reports. Inside Sources is the website they're citing here that ran the story before Fox. That she will now campaign against popular incumbent Democrat Eli Rivera, who is seeking a 5th term. Marilyn Houston, the chairman of the Cheshire County GOP, congratulated DeMezzo for the victory and told Inside Sources that she, quote, did very well with the primary, and that was wonderful, unquote. However, Houston said DeMezzo never showed up to GOP meetings and events despite being invited. I don't think that's true.
Did they invite her?
I'm going to say, okay, so Marilyn, the lady in question here, is a very, very sweet, elderly lady. And I find her very likable, right? Like she's like the kind of lady.
I've not met her, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just trying to describe her. She's like the little old lady, right? Like she's just this sweet little old lady. She's going to bake you some cookies. That kind of person. Somebody you would expect, would make a good grandmother, and she probably is. And Aria has attended the meetings in the past. Not many of them, mind you. Aria, she's like a late night person, right? Like she's usually up to 5 a.m. or something like that.
Bit of a night owl.
She works late. Her job ends at 2 a.m. and you need time to wind down, right? Like after you get off work. Yeah. So, I mean, she's wound down maybe by like 5 or 6 a.m. and ready to go to sleep. So the GOP meetings here in Cheshire County, Captain, they start at like 9 a.m., 9:30, 10. It's like you don't get up, and if you just went to bed at 5, you're not getting up for a 9 a.m. meeting.
Yeah, that or pulling all-nighter and, walk in all, half lit or whatever.
But that said, I can think of at least one, if not 2 of these meetings that she absolutely has attended. And to be fair, the Republicans, at the very least to her face, were kind to her. So, I didn't know what was going to happen when Aria, a obvious tranny, shows up at the Republican meeting.
Yeah.
And I was pleasantly surprised at how, they were kind and welcoming to her. So maybe Marilyn just spaced it, but yeah, she's definitely attended at least a couple of the GOP meetings. Now, whether she felt comfortable at those meetings or not is another question, because there were definitely at least 2 of the ladies that are in that meeting regularly. Mm-hmm. They were commenting about her one week when she wasn't there. So one of the times when Aria wasn't around, they were commenting that about.
Did you see the translate? Oh my gosh, what are we going to do?
What they would talk about is what she posted on Facebook. So they like subscribed to her and were following her every post. So anyway, according to the outlet, DeMezzo comes from a group of libertarian activists that has produced candidates before. DeMezzo hosts an internet radio show where she's referred to as a she-male. Well, I mean, we don't regularly call her a she-male, but that's the term she has adopted for herself.
Yes.
So I guess normally in the LGBTQ or the trans community, some people are offended by the term she-male, apparently.
Yeah, it seems to be frowned upon, I guess.
But she's not, so she kind of embraces it. And you can probably figure out why she calls herself a she-male. It's because she was born as a male and still has all those parts, but dresses otherwise. DeMezzo said in her blog post that her victory in the primary was an argument for anarchism, because of how, quote, clueless the average voter is, unquote. She garnered 4,211 votes, easily beating a traditional candidate who only received a few hundred votes, election results show. She wrote in her blog, quote, sweet Satan, how can you not be an anarchist? Between 75 and 80% of the primary voters, the ones alleged to be more politically aware than the average voter, and that's what I always thought,
right,
were completely and totally ignorant of who they were voting for. What is the percentage with the average voter? 95%? 90%? These people are deciding who gets to rule you, she said, before calling on Cheshire County to secede from both New Hampshire and the United States. She doesn't just want New Hampshire to secede from the United States. She wants Cheshire County itself to secede from New Hampshire.
I'm in. Whatever it takes. I want everybody to secede from all of these fake gangs, these false beliefs that you have, so that everybody can just be individuals, and we can just treat everybody on an individual basis like we're meant to do.
I think that's a good idea, although here's my concern, Captain. Politically, and I don't like politics, I despise it, in fact. But that's why I love things like what Aria is doing, because it's trolling the system. And I find that to be endlessly entertaining.
Absolutely.
And it gets attention, and that means that people pay attention to what we're doing here, and hopefully they'll move here. Because we need more libertarian people, more liberty-minded anarchists, more voluntarists to migrate here, as you have done, as I have done, as Aria has done, as thousands of others have done. But we need thousands and thousands more. This shows Aria's candidacy, as many other things in the past have shown, but this is the current version. This shows the effectiveness that a small group of dedicated, freedom-minded people can have. Because if it weren't for the group, she would not have been able to do this.
That's true.
Now, she could have filed in the office on her own if she was all by herself or whatever, but it was this sort of group action of a few of us, or several of us in this area, sort of flipped over to the Republicans for political reasons, just because it's easier to get on the ballot, as I explained earlier in the show. And one thing led to another, which led to another, which led to her discovering that this was an option. Right. And now she's got a group of freedom lovers backing her. So, but to the point of secession, there's something I wanted to say about the idea of Cheshire County seceding, which is an interesting one. We'll get into it coming up. If you want to call in, you can join us. It's Free Talk Live.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
Following today's press conference in which NASA announced its continuing search for a planet capable of supporting NASA, researcher Dr. Kenneth Heiser sat down with Onion reporters to detail their ongoing mission to find a NASA-habitable planet.
Our objective is to find a planet capable of nurturing not just life, but also a sustained interest in the exploration of the cosmos. Such a planet would need to have water and proximity to light and heat, but also life forms with even the vaguest understanding of the importance of astronomical exploration. Ultimately, this would need to be a planet with organisms that have a genuine interest in expanding the limits of their knowledge.
Heiser added that any planet capable of supporting NASA would need to be able to generate a steady stream of financing to meet the agency's $18 billion annual budget.
The important thing is we just need to be patient. There's a limitless number of planets in the universe, and eventually we'll find one with the resources to support our work. We just have to, right?
This is the Onion News Network.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
The Shire Free Church offers a sanctuary to those seeking an escape from state churches.
The Shire Free Church is an interfaith, diverse group of people that may not share identical theological beliefs. As a member in or minister of the Shire Free Church, you are a sovereign individual and may be the faith of your choice.
We don't claim to have all of the answers.
We are open to all peaceful people.
We want to learn from each other.
What unifies the Shire Free Church and its diverse members is peace,
love, and liberty. There are many paths to God, one for every individual.
The Shire Free Church does not define a specific path, beyond those parameters that must be your foundation.
Peace as your way.
Love as your guide.
And liberty as your light.
Learn more at church.shiresociety.com.
That's church.shiresociety.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want here. Live Saturday edition of the show. You dial toll free if you want to join us. Otherwise, you got to listen to us talk about stuff. And we got stuff to talk about.
Oh, we got something to say. We've been saying and will continue saying.
That is not a problem here. With you tonight, it's Ian.
And the captain.
Don't forget, you can join the AMP program. You like what we do here? Then be like Farmer Garrick and join the AMP program. He is a silver amplifier. And that means $5 a month to the AMP program. AMP stands for Advertise, Market, and Promote. It's a way for you to help us get Free Talk Live on more radio stations because it does cost money to get the word out there about what we do.
Indeed.
And although we might get some free publicity here if one of these media organizations will actually name the show that Aria is a part of.
Yeah, well, and call it a radio show instead of an internet radio show. Like they're all trying to minimize their thing here, but whatever.
But if you want to help us out, please amp the show, amp.freetalklive.com, and thank you, Farmer Garrick.
I just want to say, as far as the amplifier program goes, I don't think I've ever said this before, but I love that it's called the amplifier program.
Because you're a musician.
I'm a musician.
Yeah.
And immediately I knew what an amplifier was, and I'm like, oh, they're trying to get louder. Right?
I don't remember who came up with it. It might have been Johnson.
It's pretty cool.
It might have been me.
It.
I don't know. 855-450-FREE. That's the toll-free line. We were talking about Aria DiMezzo, who is our co-host here on Free Talk Live. She's the main host on Tuesday nights. She also co-hosts with us on Wednesday and, fill-ins, whenever we need her.
Yeah.
She's great. She's fantastic on the air.
She plays lead guitar.
She's great at guitar. She's a very talented lady and also trans. Also a Satanist. Also an anarchist.
Employed and not a drug addict unless you count caffeine.
Also... well, she used to have an addiction, but she broke it. That's one of the things that she's actually talked about as the candidate for sheriff.
But not currently.
Right, but she is actually, unlike a lot of people, running for sheriff, we don't know what their drug habits are.
Right.
She's up front about it. Hey, I had she's pointing out, she says she had what was it, like a Vicodin or something. She was taking some sort of painkillers, and she didn't go into treatment for it. She just quit, and she went through the withdrawals. And she's a better person for it. Yeah. But she's got the experience of, that sort of side of living. Yeah. And that's not common with honest sheriffs.
Well, and here's the great thing. As far as any sort of candidate for any sort of office goes, generally speaking, the opposition will attempt to do some research, hire some private investigators, and blah, 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 dig up some dirt, as it were, right? I mean,
there's no real hard digging you got to do to find the dirt.
All I'm saying is that it's not really all that possible with somebody as open about
that's true
who she is, what she's about, and where she's come from, all that kind of thing.
The sex tape's already leaked, so
it was there long before this campaign. So
So it's going to be really interesting, and we're going to keep you up to date with it. But there was an issue that I was really pleased to see was mentioned in the Fox News article, and that was secession.
Secession.
So one of her positions as the candidate for sheriff here in Cheshire County, New Hampshire, is pro-secession, not just for New Hampshire, but for the county.
Just for our listeners, will you define secession?
Thank you. That is a political move to leave a political alliance of some sort, meaning that if you're a state government, secession would mean for you leaving the United States.
I think the most popular version of that folks may have heard of, occasionally you'll hear something about, well, Texas is going to secede from the Union, which means they're going to try and become their own country or something like that.
California's been in the news recently for Calexit.
Yeah, they have to.
Britain is, of course, Brexit,
right,
where they're exiting the EU slowly.
New Hampshire doesn't really sing with that. It's not Nehexit.
Yeah, it's a bit of a mess there.
Not very... Doesn't roll off the tongue nicely.
Nah, just New Hampshire secession or New Hampshire independence. I think that's fine.
I like that.
But Aria goes even further by calling for the county of Cheshire County, New Hampshire. And there are only 10 counties in New Hampshire, by the way, very small place. That she wants Cheshire County to secede from not only the United States, but also from New Hampshire.
Okay.
And I'm not necessarily against the idea because I'm in favor of decentralization generally.
Yeah.
However, I think there's some important things to consider here. Secession is a political move. You have to do it politically unless you can get enough people to simply ignore the government, in which case then you can do it through sort of default,
right?
Basically. Because if all of a sudden a bunch of people in one geographic area just decided they were going to stop paying the federal government anything,
right,
well, then you have seceded effectively from the federal government.
Right, because government borders are literally a belief system.
Correct.
They only exist in the mind of humans.
Mind. Yep. Well, government generally is only in your mind. Now, it's also in the minds of these cops, and they will kill you if you don't do what they say. So
True.
it's like it's a crazy belief system. But we're not to the point yet where Americans or people in the world generally can reject the idea of the state. And that's why Aria is going to have a tough time winning this election, because the people who are afraid of the idea of anarchy, she's using the sort of the bad word of anarchy. It's hard to separate.
I don't mind it.
I know you don't, but I do. I like the term voluntarism because it's more positive.
Voluntarism is a far better word.
Yeah, it talks about what I am in support of rather than what I am against. And of course, voluntarism doesn't have the connotation of bomb throwing that anarchism almost always in mainstream media.
In the minds of people.
Like this article about Aria is the first article that I've seen in a long time that uses the word anarchist without using destruction, firebombing, shootings, all kinds of things like that.
To be fair, I think that the use of anarchist, and particularly the Fox News headline and the rest of the media that's following, is actually better for the headline.
Oh, it's definitely going to get people to click.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
so
no doubt.
In that respect, it's there. And also, I think like Trump has referred
but
to...
But she's not going to have a chance to explain
like some of the Antifa people being anarchists or whatever.
That's the problem
kind of
with anarchists.
And so like people like have this... and it's very sensational.
Yeah.
So if you actually look into what anarchy means, it just means no rulers. Archon is Latin for ruler. An means no, right? And no ruler. Doesn't mean no rules.
Is it even, and you're right, that is the definition of it, but does that even mean that you can rule yourself? Isn't that a ruler, a self-rule?
Well, I think by default you rule yourself.
Wouldn't auto-archist be a better term?
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
Possibly.
And maybe that would get someone to think, what's an auto-archist?
I mean, do you really rule yourself?
I think you do. I think you do.
I think you own yourself.
Let me give you an example of why I think this. Because sometimes there are thoughts that come into my head that I don't want. Okay. So I have the ability to look at the things that I'm thinking, sort of not from the outside per se, right? But there's something about being able to have this sort of whatever stream of consciousness is, whatever, however these thoughts are generated,
dialogue,
right? To be able to look at them and say, that's a terrible idea, and just reject it, right? And so I think that is self-rule. I think that's an example of that.
Okay. And I can identify with that. I've had many a time where I was like, gee, I really want to punch this guy right now. And
but you didn't.
I didn't because I was like, hey, I'm not that guy. And
but if you were just ruled by your pure emotions and you couldn't step outside of yourself, so to speak, to observe yourself thinking, then you would just punch everybody you felt like punching.
But in that respect, what I am saying is, for me personally, and hopefully folks can identify with this, I am the best qualified person to rule myself.
I agree.
And that's why I continually say, people are, Captain Kickass, what are you the captain of? I'm the captain of me.
Exactly.
Right? I'm more of, and I don't know if that's a ruler, but I'm a pilot at least.
Okay.
Of me. And I want you to be captain of yourself as well. All you listeners out there, everybody, you should just be captain of yourself. Nobody is in a better position. Not our co-host, nobody. But there's no other person in a better position to make your decisions for you than you.
Well, the pilot rules the aircraft.
Right.
The pilot or the captain of the ship makes the decisions that will determine whether
I'm
that
the captain of this particular meat suit.
And those decisions will determine whether that boat or plane is going to crash.
Right.
If you take your hands off the controls, something bad's going to happen.
I certainly don't want anybody else piloting this ship.
Yeah. And now that's the way we are. But maybe there are people that want to be told what to do, in which case you should be able to choose somebody. If you have some sort of oracle or some kind of guru or expert that you want to follow and have them tell you what to do, you just go right ahead. You can do that.
Right. And the line gets drawn when you try to force that on other people.
Yes, that's right. And that's what government is.
Right.
Government is the idea that it's okay as long as enough people vote to force people into a certain belief system, to force them to do things they don't want to do, or to force them to not do things that they do want to do.
Or to have a ruler they don't want to have.
Yes, exactly. 855-450-FREE. Secession, though, is one of my favorite topics, and I'm glad she's bringing it into this political campaign.
Yes.
Because it's going to get people talking about it. And I think people need to talk about secession before it can become a reality. And so we're going to talk more about it coming up here. If you want to comment, you're welcome to join us. But what does it look like if a county secedes?
Yeah, I'd never thought of that.
It's Free Talk Live.
If you have diabetes and you're on Medicare, Medicaid, or have private insurance, you may qualify for a new continuous glucose monitor. Managing your diabetes is crucial to your health. The new CGM can automatically and easily help you manage your diabetes more effectively. And by using a CGM, you can eliminate the one thing most people with diabetes dislike the most: finger sticks. Now you can automatically manage your diabetes and end the painful finger sticks. Solara Medical Supplies makes it simple for you to have a new CGM. We'll do all the insurance paperwork for you and deliver the newest in diabetic care technology right to your door. Take charge of your diabetes today with the help of a new continuous glucose monitor. Call now to learn more.
800-547-5331. 800-547-5331. 800-547-5331. That's 800-547-5331.
Are you ready for what's next? It's likely coming. More food shortages, power outages, grocery stores closed, social unrest. Ask yourself, do you have enough food and supplies on hand to last at least 30 days? Most Americans do not, but you can. Avoid the panic of the last-minute rush. Order your 4-week supply of emergency food today from mypatriotsupply.com. Starvation or dependency on the government are your only alternatives. Avoid those and the pain of being unprepared. Go to mypatriotsupply.com right now. Build your emergency food supply with meals that last up to 25 years in storage, shipped discreetly to your door. Folks that know what's coming are using today to prepare. There's time for you to do the same. That's mypatriotsupply.com, the original Patriot Preparedness Company. mypatriotsupply.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. Dial in toll free and bring up whatever you want. Our number is 855-450-FREE. We're talking about Aria DiMezzo, our co-host here on Free Talk Live. She's not on tonight. She's at her other job.
Indeed.
But she's one of our weekday co-hosts and does fill-in work for us, and she's awesome.
Possible sheriff.
There's a chance. There's a realistic chance that she could become sheriff. How likely it is? Well, it's early in the game. We've got two months till the election, roughly. So it's we got plenty of time. But she's making a big splash in mainstream media as we speak tonight. She's hit Fox News, and that is resulting in a bunch of copycat pickup articles out there.
Some international
She's
press.
going to be busy. It's going to be a busy week for her, and she's likely going to get some interviews. And we'll keep you in the loop on how this is developing. But there's an interesting issue she brought up in the Fox story about her. And that is the idea of secession. Secession for not just the state of New Hampshire, but secession for the county of Cheshire County.
We were about to talk about this during the break, and we thought, well, let's talk about it on air, of course. My question is, how do you even start that? Do you first secede from the state of New Hampshire?
As a county seceding.
As a county?
Yeah.
I don't seems to me that might be bureaucratically easier to do, to secede from your own state, than it is for a state to secede from the country, perhaps?
Okay, well,
I don't know.
It is an interesting question. So there was a time where there was a city called Killington, Vermont. It's a ski town.
Yeah.
It's landlocked within Vermont, so it's not a border town with New Hampshire.
Yep.
They wanted to secede from Vermont and join New Hampshire.
Oh, weird.
And it was like a tax thing. Vermont is a more heavily taxed state.
Yes,
it is
they
a
are.
less free state than New Hampshire. New Hampshire is either number 1 or number 2, depending on how the rankings come out of the most free of all the United States.
Yep.
I don't know where Vermont is on that list offhand, but it isn't near number 1 or 2.
Close.
So the people of Killington, they had a secessionist movement, and they were trying to get out of Vermont and join as this little island. It would have been like a little island in Vermont of New Hampshire. Now, I don't remember exactly what stopped that from happening. I'm pretty sure that legally, right? So there's the sort of social secession of just ignoring the state and having it leave you alone. Because if enough people ignore the state, they can't lock everybody up, right? But we're not to that point yet. So for political reasons, they would have to get permission from Vermont to leave, and then permission from New Hampshire to join, which is almost impossible. Why would Vermont let them go when they're making tax money off of them, which is the reason why they want to secede in the first place? In New Hampshire, you're going to have a tough time because New Hampshire is not what's called a home rule state, meaning that the city of Keene, when they passed their mask ordinance mandating, which is where we live, by the way, Keene, or that's where the studio is.
Yep.
They passed this mandatory mask ordinance a few weeks ago. Well, arguably, that was not legal for them to do that. They did it. So by sort of de facto, it's kind of legal, but it technically isn't legal because in New Hampshire, it's not what's called a home rule state, meaning that the localities, the towns, the cities, the counties, they don't have carte blanche to just do whatever they want to do. They can't just make something illegal that the state has not made illegal.
Oh, they have to follow the state?
Right. So Keene is sort of a lefty town for New Hampshire.
Yep.
And maybe the Keene people are a bunch of lefties and they're like, we want to ban guns. Well, sorry, you can't do that. The guns aren't banned at the state level.
I see that happening here.
Well, I mean, it's Keene.
In Keene.
That's what I'm saying.
Maybe. Okay.
Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I'm just giving you an example, right? Like, we want to ban guns. The city council passes a ban on guns. It'll be overturned by the state Supreme Court as unconstitutional or against whatever the New Hampshire.
Is the state the home in home rule, the terminology?
Yeah, but some states do have home rule where the city of Chicago or whatever. I don't know what Illinois' rules are, but like cities can make way more controlling and restrictive rules than the state has allowed for.
Seattle, for example, far more restrictive than the rest of Washington State. Yeah, by far.
Yeah. Now, as long as the state has authorized the counties, so again, in a non-home rule state, the state has to, like New Hampshire, the state has to authorize the cities and towns to do a certain thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that doesn't mean the towns will do it. So, like, some towns don't have zoning.
Right.
Others do.
Right.
That's because they're authorized by the state to have zoning. So some have zoning, some don't. Some have more restrictive zoning than others, et cetera, et cetera. So from a legal perspective, the county of Cheshire seceding from New Hampshire, the state, it's just not possible. The only way it could be done is for the state to say, okay, you can go. So, I mean, it's possible, but it's not possible in that, like, the county commission can't just be like, we're gone, see you later. You know, it would have to be to petition the state representatives to file a bill. The bill would have to be...
You have to beg your masters for permission to do so.
The bill would have to basically say, hey, New Hampshire, do you want to let these Cheshire County go? And then they would vote on it, and maybe they would vote yes. Because a lot of people don't like Cheshire County because it's sort of, somewhat left-leaning.
So what you're saying is there's a chance.
There is a chance.
And if there were to be enough people living in this geographic area known as New Hampshire to get into different offices and go, yeah, go ahead.
It could happen.
It could. Okay.
It could happen.
Right.
But here's the thing. Here's my concern, Captain, is that the folks in this area are kind of the lefty folks, right? Like, they don't care a lot about freedom, some of them. I mean, there's certainly some people that care about freedom out here, but we're bordered with Vermont and we're bordered with Massachusetts, and New York isn't that far away. There's a college here in Keene. There's another one down south in the county. So, like, there's a bunch of statist people here. There's a bunch of people that believe in the state. They believe in the government.
Despite its kick-ass state slogan of live free or die.
My concern is if you actually were to secede from the state of New Hampshire, that Cheshire County would become like the California of, the United States, basically. Ooh. That we would be... without all the economic activity, but we would be like the sort of the commie side of New Hampshire to some extent, and it would be an ugly situation. To some extent, having the rest of New Hampshire as a sort of moderating influence over this area is helpful. I don't want to end up in a place that bans guns, right? Like if Cheshire County seceded from New Hampshire, they could just ban guns if they wanted to. They'd be their own nation. Now, I'm not saying that would necessarily happen because it's a tight fight between the lefties that are clustered here in Keene and a couple of other towns and the righties who are in the rest of the county. But I kind of feel like the statism is tempered somewhat by the
because
state,
Cheshire County is a subdivision, if you will, of the state of New Hampshire. The state of New Hampshire has final say over whether or not it can secede.
That's correct.
Okay.
And if it did secede, I think that it would be less free than it is today.
Right. So the better idea would be for New Hampshire itself to secede from the Union.
I think that'd be a good start. And then if we ended up changing the Democrat... So, like, think about it this way. If New Hampshire secedes, or maybe I should say when New Hampshire secedes from the United States...
When it secedes, indeed.
There will be... I mean, if New Hampshire wasn't already attractive to freedom lovers, it would be even more so, right? Hey... we just left the United States. Come on. Our borders are open. Come on in.
Yep.
And, of course, that would be one of the fights. When secession happens, you'll see the freedom movement schism. You'll see them schism into the closed border side and the open border side. And that could get ugly. But hopefully we get to cross that bridge when we come to it. But anyway, the idea would be, hey, freedom people, come on in. And then maybe more freedom people would come here because this would be like the capital of freedom for the world.
Attention, freedom listeners. You can get ahead of the curve by moving now.
Right now. Yeah, exactly. So I think that would be beneficial, and then maybe if enough people were here, then there'd be a reason for Cheshire County to secede. But I would caution against that move right now. I think that would be bad for freedom if that happened. Plus, the nice thing about New Hampshire as a state, a contiguous, again, we don't believe in nations, but everybody else in the world does. So even if we're like, well, we don't believe in the border, they do. Right. And they're going to act like they do, set up border checkpoints or whatever they're going to do.
Be the thugs they are.
Yeah. But it's nice to have, and you look, one of the reasons I voted for New Hampshire as the #1 choice during the Free State Project poll, which was 15 or however many years ago it was that people voted on that, was because it's not landlocked. It's not like Wyoming, which was the second most popular choice, where, I mean, it's landlocked to the maximum.
Right.
New Hampshire has two international borders. It has the ocean. It's very short. It's not a lot of beach space there, but there's a port, and there's a lot of activity for how small it is. And then, of course, the border with Canada.
Right.
So you've got some access there.
That's where I import my ginger ale from.
That's pretty important, right? It's pretty important to have that international access. Like, because worst case, the government of the United States, that gang could do pretty nasty things like, try to lock down the borders and things like that. So you'd want to have the availability to access the Atlantic Ocean and access Canada.
A couple different escape hatches.
And if Cheshire County secedes from New Hampshire, then we become a landlocked nation in that case. So I got to disagree with Aria on that one, but I do appreciate her talking about it because, again, getting people talking about it is an important aspect.
That's what it's all about.
Hour 3 is coming up. This is Free Talk Live.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more, and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From bad to worse in the West, I'm Lisa Brady. Fox News says fire crews wage an epic battle against widespread wildfires that have already killed over 20 people. We're now learning about how many people are missing. Fox's Jessica Rosenthal has more live.
Well, Lisa, while at least 4 people have been killed specifically in Oregon wildfires, Governor Kate Brown said today dozens of people remain missing. In California, at least 10 people have been killed in one fire alone, the North Complex fire, where 2,000 structures have burned in Butte County. The sheriff there says another 16 people are missing. California Governor Gavin Newsom toured the damage.
I'm a little bit exhausted that we have to continue to bait this issue. This is a climate damn emergency.
As multiple fires burn, resources are stretched thin. Firefighters from Israel, Canada, and New Jersey, as well as even closer states, are assisting here, Lisa.
Thanks, Jessica. For the second time in a month, a U.S. brokered peace deal is reached in the Middle East. Bahrain agreeing to recognize Israel just days before Israel and the UAE sign their agreement to normalize relations at the White House next week. President Trump in an Oval Office announcement today saying he's hopeful of more deals.
We think ultimately you'll have most countries join and you're going to have the Palestinians in a very good position. They want to come in. They're going to want to come in because all of their friends are in.
So far, Palestinian leaders have strongly condemned the agreements as a betrayal of their cause and the ongoing push for statehood. Earlier in the day, both the president and Democratic nominee Joe Biden each attending ceremonies to mark 19 years since the 9/11 terror attacks that killed nearly 3,000 people. Biden visiting both New York's Ground Zero and Shanksville, Pennsylvania, where he met with victims' families. Mixed finish to the week on Wall Street. The Dow up 131, the NASDAQ down 66. America's listening to Fox News.
For over 20 years, millions of customers have trusted Blinds.com to update their homes because Blinds.com makes it easy to get custom blinds that'll give your windows a high-end look without the high-end price. Whether you like to DIY, need design help, or prefer measure and install services, they do it all with easy online ordering and free shipping right to your door. If you're nervous, know that Blinds.com has over 30,000 5-star customer reviews, and they guarantee the perfect fit for your windows, whether you do it yourself or have them do the whole installation.
Go to Blinds.com now to get this week's special savings on interior blinds, shades, shutters, and even outdoor shades. Plus, pay over 24 months at 0% APR on qualifying purchases with PayPal Credit Easy payments through 9/17/2020.
As of March 1st, 2020, new PayPal credit accounts have a variable purchase APR of 25.49% that will vary with the market based on the prime rate. Minimum interest charge is $2, subject to credit approval. Visit Blinds.com/PayPal. Other rules and restrictions may apply.
A court hearing today for the officers charged in George Floyd's death. His brother Philinus outside the courthouse in Minneapolis.
We need to stop this. This is wrong. We need justice, and we demand that.
Family members urging peaceful protests to continue. A lot of questions facing the judge.
No decision on motions in Minneapolis in the case against 4 officers accused in the death of George Floyd on a possible change of venue or to combine cases. Though Hennepin County Judge Peter Cahill did disqualify Hennepin County Attorney Mike Freeman and 3 other prosecutors, saying a private meeting that they held with a medical examiner makes them now witnesses in the case.
Today's hearing marked another step in what will be a long process toward justice.
Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, the judge still also has yet to rule on motions to dismiss. Jeff Manasso, Fox News.
One of the federal prosecutors helping to lead an investigation into the origins of the Russia probe has resigned.
LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. As our contract with our satellite provider is coming up for another 3-year renewal, I have to consider calling it quits. It's rare that we get feedback or support from our satellite users. We started a fundraiser a few years ago, and though there are a bunch of great contributors to it, as of this recording, it covers 15% of our monthly satellite costs. Please email lrn@lrn.fm and tell me how you use the satellite feed. Better yet, chip in at fund.lrn.fm. The costs aren't the issue. We can afford them, but why continue something not valued by the market? Want to help? You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. Fund.lrn.fm.
Following reports that local full-blown alcoholic Ken Matheson has such great friends that let him drink himself to death right before their eyes, the 32-year-old man spoke to reporters during a typical evening of binging with his closest friends.
Man, these guys are like brothers to me. I don't know what I'd do without them.
The chemically dependent man, who can reportedly always count on his friends to look the other way, facilitate belligerent behavior, and encourage his self-destructive impulses, informed reporters that the members of his tight-knit circle are, quote, the best buddies a guy could ask for.
Can you just shut the f*** up? Seriously. Just shut the f*** up. I lost some. Back then. Keep going. What the f*** are you looking at? I love you, man. I love you.
Check this week's Onion Review for further developments.
I love you. Oh, God, I love everybody.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Hey, it's Free Talk Live. We're kicking off the 3rd hour here of the live Saturday edition of the show. The toll-free number is 855-450, free like freedom. We've been talking about secession. Aria DeMezzo, our co-host, is running for sheriff here in Cheshire County. She's transgender.
What was that headline again? I just love saying it.
Ooh, I don't have it in front of me right now.
Yeah, my phone's rebooting right now.
She's a transgender Satanist anarchist, and she's running for Cheshire County sheriff here, and it's hitting the news big time. Fox News putting it up on their front page, and that's resulting in a ton of attention. So that's great news, and that's kind of where we started tonight. But, Captain, you've got an unrelated story. This one, to get back into the lockdown insanity, is coming from, I believe, the New York Post, where they're looking at the question of was the lockdown or the lockdowns that in some cases continue, were they a mistake? Was the lockdown a mistake? Were the lockdowns a mistake? And that is the question that they are looking at, correct?
Correct, yes. I was curious to see my own personal note that I took on this particular piece of show prep was, like, we haven't been saying this since March, right? And by we, I mean many of us here at Free Talk Live, hosts, many of the people we know in our community have been saying that it's all a huge mistake to do any lockdowns whatsoever. People keep blaming COVID for all the things going on, all the economic destruction, the job loss. I read today that there's still 30 million people collecting some sort of unemployment benefit.
Wow.
Still, and I think it was a high of 45 million people at peak shutdown.
Don't forget all the businesses that have closed.
Permanently. Half of all the small businesses just in San Francisco will remain permanently closed as a result of the government's overreaction.
And don't think it was just San Francisco. I mean, Honolulu, Hawaii, Los Angeles.
San Francisco's a microcosm
Dallas.
of, you know, if it's happening there, you can bet it's happening in other places too. So I was curious that somebody has, you know, maybe taken a reasonable look. And you know, I'm curious, how similar is this story to the stuff we've been saying, or I've been saying at least, since March, right?
Sure.
How many months ago is that? 9?
No, 6.
6?
But
6
it's
months ago.
It's a lot of months.
So a lot of time ago. And that's why I brought it in for
I want to
show
hear it.
prep. So
let's do it.
Well, we will as soon as my tech cooperates.
Oh, no.
I'm having technicalities at the moment.
Okay. Well, there's all kinds of things to talk about here, but I will say it's a mistake. You know, the lockdowns are, and whether it was a mistake or not is a whole other question, because it seemed awfully deliberate to me, right? Like a mistake is like something, whoops, oh, how did I do that? You know, this is, they thought about this, and they must have known what the consequences would be.
So this is from the New York Post. Were lockdowns a mistake? To that nagging question, the answer increasingly seems to be yes. Well, no ask Sherlock. What tipped you off, Einstein? What was your first clue? I have to say to this author. Certainly, they were a novelty. As novelist Lionel Shriver writes, we've never before responded to a contagion by closing down whole countries. That's a fact, as near as I can tell. As I've noted, the 1957-58 Asian flu killed between 70,000 and 116,000 Americans, between 0.04% and 0.07% of the nation's population. The 1968-70 Hong Kong flu killed about 100,000, or 0.05% of the population. The U.S. coronavirus death toll of 186,000 is 0.055% of the current population. It will go higher, but it's about the same magnitude as those two others. And it has been less deadly to those under 65 than those previous two flus were. Yet there were no statewide lockdowns, no massive school closings, no closings of office buildings and factories.
No mask obsession.
No closing of restaurants and museums. No one considered shutting down during Woodstock. We've covered all of this in different articles between March and now here on Free Talk Live.
We're glad the Post was listening.
Yeah, I mean, perhaps they went through our archives and were like, hey, these guys have a point. We should write an article. Perhaps. Why are the attitudes so different today? Good question. Perhaps we have greater confidence in government's effectiveness. I don't know this we he's talking about, but I certainly don't. If public policy can affect climate change, it can stamp out a virus. No,
it can't.
I don't think it can.
Public policy can't affect climate change. Sorry.
Nor corona. I mean, it can affect coronavirus poorly.
Yeah,
right?
It can make it worse.
Make it worse.
Like when you put some sick person into an old person's home.
Yeah, or
like they did in New York.
You know, cause people to lose their savings, their livelihoods, their jobs, their entire businesses, their homes, everything they've worked for their entire life.
But, Captain, if it just saves one life.
Yeah, well, think about all the people who committed suicide as a result of all of this.
Well, Captain, they chose that. You can't choose coronavirus.
Well, you can't choose your government either, apparently.
Not easily. If you're wealthy enough, you can.
Well, yeah, okay. You still have to jump through a whole bunch of bureaucratic hoops and pay a bunch of money
to make
it so. The article continues, plus, we're much more risk-averse. Children aren't allowed to walk to school. Jungle gyms have vanished. Really? Jungle gyms have vanished from playgrounds?
I mean, I think they've been wussified, the ones that do exist.
I don't remember us doing an article on jungle gyms vanishing from playgrounds.
I don't think we've done a story per se on
Note
that.
to self.
But they're not wrong that there's been this sort of wussification of the American people over a period of generations, and it is culminated in weakness by whole generations of people. And it's not just the United States where these things are happening. You know, I visited Japan last year for a little bit, and there's apparently some of that going on over there as well, with a lot of sort of lady men around, basically. And by no means am I, you know, a man's man or whatever, right? Like, I press buttons for a living. I don't go out and sling bricks and fix cars and trucks or anything like that. But I can appreciate taking risk, and I can appreciate, you know, what it takes to be successful. And this is a very risk-averse population, and it's the government that runs the government schools that is inculcating people with risk aversion. It is basically what they teach. They don't want people to take risks. They want them to do what they're told. They want them to be obedient.
It's as if you know what's coming next in the article.
I haven't read it. I swear to you.
It says, we have a safetyism mindset, as Jonathan Haidt and Greg...
Jonathan Haidt?
H-A-I-D-T.
Oh, okay.
Haidt, okay. Whatever. And Greg Lukianoff, I'm probably butchering both their names, right, in The Coddling of the American Mind, apparently that's a book, under which many aspects of student lives needed to be carefully regulated by adults.
The good news about this, Captain, I think, is that the pendulum will swing in the other direction at some point. Now, how far the pendulum is going to continue in this wussy direction, remains to be seen. I mean, we've seen insane levels of wussiness. I'm using that term just because it's coming to me. But
I think I know what you're describing.
Like the drive-in comedy show that we went to, the drive-in concerts, the things of being really just safetied out to the max and absolutely ridiculous, but we may not have hit the max yet, is what I'm saying.
It's all the memes that you see on the internet about, you know, particularly, I think Generation X, if you will. And I hate using these generation terminologies. They're divisive to me. But you'll see the memes about, when we were a kid, we didn't wear knee pads while skateboarding or helmets. That's true. We didn't. I didn't. I skateboarded plenty. I didn't wear one piece of safety equipment. You know, I drank water from the garden hose, the old green one that just sat in the yard all year. Drank water straight from it when I was thirsty. You know, these kinds of things. So there was, you know, I can certainly point to things. Here I am.
Yeah.
Still kicking, you know. Anyway, the article continues. The news of the COVID-19 virus killing dozens and overloading hospitals in Bergamo, Italy, triggered a flight to safety and restriction. Many Americans stopped going to restaurants and shops even before the lockdowns were ordered in March and April. And I don't know why they didn't just let that play out. Right?
What do you mean?
People were voluntarily stopping certain activities because of what they felt, right? Or perhaps what they were told, right? But people were voluntarily, right? Businesses were allowing people to, hey, if you feel, then you go ahead and work from home. If not, you can continue to come to the office. And like the government just couldn't leave that be.
Well, no,
they couldn't let people make their own freaking decisions. They had to intervene and make it all mandatory for everybody.
They think that's what they're there for. I mean, these people in the government, they believe this is their mandate in life, that this is what they were called to Earth to do, which is to tell everybody how to live and what to do. You got more coming up here. We'll share it. This is Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live is aired on nearly 200 radio stations throughout the week, and we've been doing this for almost 18 years. You can call in any evening from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern to talk about whatever's on your mind. Sure, you can waste your time on Facebook and reach dozens of surly posters, or you can call in with your issue and reach 3 surly hosts. Oh, and nearly 500,000 weekly listeners. The number is 1-855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for Forkfest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. Forkfest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and Forkfest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for Forkfest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow Forkfesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the Forkfest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market.
Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project early movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191. Do you have a WordPress website running WooCommerce and want to accept cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin, Dash, Bitcoin Cash, and Bitcoin SV? Now you can easily enable crypto payments from your customers by adding the AnyPay plugin to your WordPress site. Just visit AnyPayInc.com and set up your account by entering your cryptocurrency wallet addresses in the admin. Then enable the AnyPay plugin in your WooCommerce. That's it. Now your website takes crypto like Bitcoin thanks to AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
It is Free Talk Live. You dial toll-free. Join us here on the radio. Our number is 855-450-FREE like freedom. That's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms. They're over at discord.lrn.fm. You can hop into one of those, and you'll sound almost like you're sitting here in the studio with us. Tonight, it's Ian.
And the captain.
Also want to invite you to Forkfest 2021.
Yeah!
You want a chance to meet Aria DiMezzo in real life? She's going to be there at Forkfest 2021. You were there this year, Captain Kickass, for the first time.
I was.
And you had a good time.
Great.
Yeah, you had a good time.
I tell everybody who asks about it, my first experience was within a half hour of arriving at the campground, I had forgotten about the rest of my life.
Right on.
Yeah, it was like it had that much of an effect on me, just being, out at Rogers Campground in the White Mountains and all that kind of thing.
We're in the Liberty Zone.
Yeah, I was like, oh, okay, I'm going to have fun now. It's party time.
Yeah, I loved it. It was a great time. And this 2021 will be year number 5 for Forkfest. So come on out. If you've never been before, I think you're going to have a good time. It comes after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, which is a long-time event at the same campground at Rogers Campground. And Forkfest is the week after that. So mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th. So, yeah, Independence Day weekend, we're going to be at this amazingly beautiful place with some really cool people. There's going to be fireworks.
And
I
having
suspect.
arguably the most independent festival.
It was one of the only ones in 2020.
For certain.
There weren't a whole lot of festivals that weren't canceled this year. Most everything, including Burning Man, got canceled this year. So, I mean, concerts canceled left and right. Venues literally closing down and never opening again, which is what we've just been talking about. The destruction of the government and all of its mandates and rules and so-called safety factors that they're shoving down people's throats and mandating on businesses. It's been so destructive, and the amount of billions of dollars, hundreds of billions, if not trillions of dollars of value that has just been flushed down the drain. We haven't even talked about the inflating money supply. So there's been all kinds of damage that's already been dealt. And, we haven't really even started to feel, I don't think, the effects of it. I mean, yeah, some businesses are closed, but if these lockdowns keep going and or get worse, as some people are suggesting is going to happen coming this winter or this fall, then you're going to see major economic damage beyond what we're already seeing.
Agreed.
And so we may have barely even scratched the surface of this. We're going to continue with your calls and thoughts, but you've got more coming up here in a moment, Captain Kickass. But if you want to learn more about Forkfest, go to forkfest.party and mark your calendar again, June 28th through July 4th, 2021. It's forkfest.party. As we go to Joe, he's calling us from Erie, Pennsylvania, listening to WJET. Go ahead, Joe.
Yeah, hi. How you guys doing?
Joe, what's on your mind tonight?
Well, we have a transgender woman working for Governor Wolf here in Pennsylvania, Dr. Rachel Levine. Have you heard of her?
No, I don't pay attention to politics.
You can Google her. It's Dr. Rachel Levine.
Okay.
There'll be a picture of her. And I mean, I don't want to say anything bad, but when I watch her on TV, I laugh.
Okay.
I mean, long blonde hair and pearls and the whole 9 yards. I mean, it just looks like a man with a wig on. And but well,
I would laugh because she's a statist, and she's apparently she's like their health advisor or whatever. So
right. She is the Secretary of Health, yeah.
So she's the Dr. Fauci of Pennsylvania, basically.
Yeah, did you look her up?
Yeah, I just did.
Did you see a picture of her?
Yeah, I see her picture. Look, I'm the least concerned with somebody's photograph. I'm more concerned with the ideas that are spewing from their mouths. And this woman is part of the problem. She's
a big problem.
Yeah, she is a government advocate who is in charge of this health aspect of, mandating what we're talking about here, lockdowns, coronavirus, masks, this and that, all this stuff. So she's one of them, and so she's a problem. But that doesn't have anything to do with whether or not she's trans. I don't care what her beliefs are about her genitalia.
But she's terrible. I agree with what you just said.
Yeah.
Hey, and one other thing before I hang up here. My friend just started bowling. Now, to go to the bowling alley, you have to have a mask on.
Oh, God.
And when you're sitting with the guys before you bowl, where the balls are and everything, you have to have your mask on. But when you get up to bowl, you could take your mask off, which I think is ridiculous anyway.
Oh.
It's all ridiculous. It's all totally arbitrary.
When you're bowling, do you have 10-pound balls?
And then here's the other thing. The guys drink
Is that a trans
beer
joke?
in, right? You can't drink the beer unless you have some food that you buy at the restaurant in the bowling alley.
Oh, God.
I mean, it's just some of the things that they're trying to pull are so ridiculous.
The thing is, they're getting away with it.
I'm afraid it's going to get worse before it gets better.
It's going to get worse because people are letting it get worse. Because the good people who don't like this, they're out there. They're wearing masks. They're doing what they're told. Stop it.
Yeah.
If you keep going along with this, you have no one to. Joe, if you keep going along with this, you have no one to blame but yourself. Don't say, oh, well, they're going to give me a fine. Go ahead, get the fine, demand your day in court, and refuse to pay it.
Yeah.
Okay?
That's what you have to do.
That's all I wanted to
Thank
say.
you, Joe, for the call, man. I appreciate it.
I have two things to say. One, because Aria is a guitar player and in the band FUD, as well as am I, I've had people ask, well, what's it like to be in a band with a trans person? And it's like...
Does she show up on time is more the important question.
I grew up in the 80s, and like what people wear and what they look like is, particularly when we're talking about a tall person, wearing makeup and that kind of a thing that maybe has, features of a different gender or whatever you expect. It's kind of like being in a band in the 80s where everybody was wearing makeup and wearing, tight pants and,
Look at those guys from the glam bands in the 80s.
Yeah. It's kind of like having Dee Snider in my band, except he dresses in full makeup all the time.
And Aria's like a real anarchist.
And she's legit, right? She's talented and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
She's good at her job.
She just built a recording studio too.
Absolutely. And we're in the midst of doing some recording and stuff.
Ooh,
so
all right.
what people people want to judge people the way they look. People judge me the way I look all the time. And, it just happens to be the way I look. They think I'm a certain way. They're like, oh, you must be a biker. Well, no, actually, I don't own a motorcycle, and that surprises everybody that I talk to, But then once I start talking to people like, oh, that guy's different from other people. Yes, absolutely I am. Mm-hmm. But that's because I try to be more accepting of people than the people who I was brought up by.
That's an important thing. You put something good out into the world like that.
Try it.
It's important.
I don't always succeed, but I try.
You know what? Do or do not. There is no try.
Yeah. I had another point to make. I can't remember what it was.
That's all right. If it's important, it'll come back to you.
It will.
The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE. Like freedom, you can join us on the radio. Take control of the airwaves here on the live Saturday edition of Free Talk Live. Also, I want to invite you over to our Discord server where chatters are there basically around the clock. You want to talk to other people that are into this show? There's also a Aria for Sheriff channel there now, so you want to get the latest on her campaign. Talk with other supporters. You can do that. There's also now an Aria for Sheriff Telegram chat room. You can go to aria4sheriff.com and you can link to her social media there as well as the Telegram chat. So check that out. There's more coming up here. This is Free Talk Live.
News from news.bitcoin.com. The U.S. Federal Reserve announces increased inflation, devaluing your U.S. dollar holdings. Pornhub increases crypto payment options, perverts worldwide rejoice. Leading stock exchanges in the EU list Bitcoin. Revolut adds Bitcoin Cash and Litecoin support. Bitcoin.com is your source for getting started with cryptocurrencies, getting a wallet, buying Bitcoin Cash, mining and all the latest cryptocurrency news at news.bitcoin.com.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. DIVI project.org.
There is no such thing as attention span, according to Jerry Seinfeld, who figures that people have an infinite attention span if you are entertaining them. Hey, he's kept us from channel surfing for several decades, and now he's making more millions as a Las Vegas headliner. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important, especially if you're looking for work. So choose every single word as though it was the last word the person you're speaking to will hear. Otherwise, it might be. Avoid redundancies such as added bonus, advance warning, end result, prior history, or personal belongings. And avoid cliches like the plague. Just kidding. For more tips, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
My name is Jacob Hornberger. I'm president of the Future of Freedom Foundation, which Congressman Ron Paul awarded for having an outstanding freedom website. Write us at fff@fff.org, and we'll send you a free 3-month subscription to our monthly journal of libertarian essays and our booklet, Economic Liberty in the Constitution, which George Mason University economics professor Walter Williams praised in a recent column. That's FFF at FFF.org.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live.
So, yeah, Mark, they did ban all foreign flags from being flown in the event that they are the only flag being flown. But nonetheless, I mean,
it's the flying of a flag?
$50 fine and 30 hours of community service.
That's dumb. This doesn't really even affect.
What do you think? This is the land of the free?
Most of the Mexican flags I see are CDs hanging from people's rearview mirrors, stickers.
I think we could qualify that.
That's not a flag.
It doesn't look like a flag. Got them colors on it.
No.
We're going to charge you $50 fine. $50. That's right.
That CD, what if the CD has music on it?
Don't matter. It's a flag.
It's not a flag. It's a CD.
If you're flying it
Clearly,
like a flag,
sir,
it's a flag, my friend.
It's not a flag. It's hanging from fishing wire from my rearview mirror.
Hanging equals flag.
No, hanging does not equal
flag. Equals $50 fine. Pay up.
Well, I have a...
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Live video of our Keene, New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Yep, it's Free Talk Live. You can bring up anything you want. Our toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom. It's 855-450-3733. We have the Discord call-in line rooms at discord.lrn.fm. You want to sound great? You want to sound like you're sitting here in the studio with us? Get on the Discord over at discord.lrn.fm and join one of those top 4 rooms.
Do it.
Get you on the air with us. Ian and the captain in the studio. We're going back to your phone calls. But first, I do want to tell you about Liberty.menu. It is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force. So if you still love the initiation of force, or you still like into the government and wanting to tell people what to do, you don't belong at Liberty.menu. That's right. It's not for you. But if you are a voluntarist, if you are a liberty-loving anarchist, if you're a libertarian, you belong at Liberty.menu, and you can go and create like little map points of business things. So like you got a business, like a real life one. You want people to know where you are in the Liberty community. You want new customers. Then please add your business to the map over at Liberty.menu. You got an event that you're organizing? Well, I hope you are, because there aren't very many people doing that. But there is an events category. There's also a category for digital content. So if you create something like the new song you guys are working on over at FUD, your band, you could put something up there at Liberty.menu if you want the people in the Liberty community to know about it. So check it out. It's free to do that. Liberty.menu. We go to your phone calls and thoughts. First up, Ken is listening in Coldwater, Michigan to WBCK FM. Go ahead, Ken.
Well, yeah, I'm in Michigan, and our governor is just, wow. She's done over 180 executive orders since March.
Wow.
Since March?
I thought our governor had a lot. His Excellency here in New Hampshire, I think he's up to the 60 to 70 range.
Wow.
Oh, no. There's a reason there's people in Michigan that have signs that say, my governor is an idiot. One thing.
Well, the governor here is a thug, and so are the rest of them.
Yeah.
They're all thugs.
One thing she's done, she has decided that high school sports can happen. However, the athletes, while competing, must wear masks.
Oh, my God.
Oh, you got to be kidding me. Now, how is it
I wish I were.
How is it that a governor suddenly has the authority to tell high schools what they can and can't do?
Because they'll listen. They'll do what they're told.
Yeah, they will.
Whether it's legal or not is a whole other question.
Mindless automatons.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the governor could say, well, then your school's not going to get the state funds that it should.
Right.
She would do that. But, I mean, can you imagine being, on the soccer team, running up and down the field with all that exertion?
No.
And not being able to breathe?
That sounds dangerous to me.
It's no bueno.
It does. Yeah, and don't be surprised if in the next couple of weeks you start hearing stories out of Michigan of athletes passing out on the field.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
I wouldn't doubt it if it happens. It's it's horrible.
That is absolutely horrifying. This is the same governor, by the way, who also banned people from buying plants, buying seeds during COVID, I presume. Is that still in play? Can you still not go to the...
No, that's not in play. That only lasted a couple of weeks. A couple of things she did didn't last long because the absurdity was just like you could go boating as long as your boat didn't have a motor. You could use a, it was just...
He said motorboating.
Every now and then, I live in southern Michigan, so every now and then I like to go to the land of the free and visit Indiana.
Yeah, right.
But, hey, I stumbled onto your show tonight. I love it. I'm
Thanks,
enjoying
Ken.
it. I'm going to try and catch it more often.
Appreciate you being out there, man. Thanks for the call tonight. Thanks for sharing that as well. If anybody else wants to call in with ridiculous nonsense
I wonder how
going on where you live, feel free.
I wonder how the seed thing ended.
It just probably got repealed due to too much backlash or whatever would be my guess. But that's as I was saying before, that's what it takes. It takes people not being obedient.
Yeah.
If you don't like what you're seeing around you, you got to do something about it. You can't just sit there and whine because they don't care about that.
Yeah.
You can whine all you want. You got freedom of speech. They haven't taken that one away yet.
Next thing you know.
Right. You can, right. But for now, while we still have it, we can complain. But if you do what you're told every time they tell you to jump and you jump, then you're just their bitch. And that's never going to change until you decide to change it. Now, I know it's scary because they're scary, right? They're going to hurt people. They're going to put people in a prison cell. But the folks in Michigan should have been... and I know some of them were, right? Some people were behind the barber, for instance, the guy, Carl Mankey, I believe was his name, a Northern Michigan barber.
Yeah, they had a few people stand up.
He stood up against the state and the governor's orders, and he said, you know what, this is my business. This is my livelihood. I'm 72 years old, or however, he was in his 70s, and I am going to continue giving my customers haircuts. If they want to come in, I'm going to service them. And what are you going to do about it? Come on, bring it. Right? They got the guys in New Jersey that own the gym, Attilis Gym there in Belmar, I think it was, New Jersey, that they said,
good memory.
You know what? Come on in. We're going to have our gym open, and the government goons came in and tried to shut them down.
Yep.
They tried to change the locks on their door. Dudes took the doors off their own business and said, we're open. What are you going to do now? Government came in and tried to board the place up. They put up big plywood panels over top of the doorways that were wide open.
Illustrating the thugs that they are.
Yes, and the two owners came in, kicked the panels in, broke into their own business, and let everybody back. They keep coming. That's what it takes. It takes that level of dedication, being willing to put everything on the line. They put their entire business on the line. These guys have children, right? The guys in the gym, they're younger, right?
Yeah.
They're in their 30s or 40s or whatever. Dude in the barbershop, his kids are probably grown up, so
Sure.
it's not as much of a concern for him. But these guys even put their kids and their families and everything on the line in order to stand up for their right to do business, because how else are they going to feed their families if they can't have the business that they put their blood, sweat, and tears into open to their customers who still want to come in? So, but again, that's what it takes. You can't just complain about this. It's not going to make things better.
You have to take some action. The action I like, of course, is moving to a location where there are other freedom-minded people.
Yes, if you are freedom-minded. If you are not freedom-minded, then move to a location where there are less freedom-minded people, meaning like California or New York State. If you love being told what to do, go to a place where there are people who love telling you what to do. Now, there are a lot of those people everywhere, but you should really make an effort. If you like socialism, for instance, get thee to California. Post with. I hear there's a lot of houses open up.
Make haste.
Yes. I hear there is a lot of opportunity to buy houses now in San Francisco, whereas there wasn't just 2 months, 6 months ago.
I hear rumors of the same.
Yeah. In fact, I know you had a news story about that too, but we're not going to have time for it.
No, we won't get into that one today.
We're going to continue, though. Your calls, your thoughts are welcome. We go to David in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years on your program. You're going to have to stand up to them. They're not going to stop until you make them stop. What they do is they, and I got my own point, but what they do is they just, the proverbial, throw it against the wall and see if it sticks.
Right, see if people will do it.
Yeah, and I have heard many, many, many times from people in power, like that have power over the people. Like I've heard cops say it firsthand. I've also heard people like doctors that, you go into a doctor's office and the doctor says, okay, get naked. And people do it. You know, and these people, I've heard them say, I can't believe that people do what I tell them to do just because I have this badge or I have this license or whatever. And it's the same thing with people that get into office. They get into office and then they issue some edict, strip naked and bend over. Because you hold that office, I will do that.
The governor orders it.
Yeah, David, are you familiar with the Milgram experiments?
I heard the name, but refresh my memory as to which one that is.
The obedience experiment.
Yeah, Stanley Milgram, he put together an experiment whereby he invited people to press buttons and gave them the illusion that they were electrocuting somebody on the other side of the wall. And they kept doing it because some guy in an official-looking lab coat told them that the experiment requires you to continue. Yeah. And because he looked official, they were just like, well, it sounds like he's in pain. The experiment requires you continue. And they would just continue pressing the button despite the other person's pain and screams for help.
Right. So it's back to always question authority.
Right.
And
I would say further, refuse it. I mean, questioning authority is like, part number one. You got to be able to question the so-called authority before you realize it's all fake. But the second part would be, once you've realized the truth, which is that these are just human beings. And David, I'll bring you back if you get another point to make. It sounds like you're on a roll tonight. But the second point would be to simply refuse. Authority is false. It is bunk. It is a BS idea that was used, is used to control you. Yep. It's used to control whole populations of people.
It's time to stand up to these bastards.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And I'm not saying stand up to them with violence, just mass non-cooperation. That will put an end to this. 855-450 free like freedom, or just do what you're told and see what happens.
With a Mactac carbine conversion unit, you can turn an XD family Glock or 1911 handgun into a carbine rifle in seconds and have it shipped right to your door, no FFL required. Now, Mactac is excited to announce our pistol carbine conversion unit. More compact with a 12-inch barrel and an arm brace, proving once again that Mactac is the world's most versatile handgun accessory. For a limited time, go to handgunconversions.com. That's handgunconversions.com and use coupon code RADIO to receive $35 off any carbine purchase.
Attention radio listeners, if you're concerned about the coming chaos after the November elections, this will be an extremely important message. Here's why. No matter what the outcome in November, catastrophic social upheaval is a very real possibility. Here's why this is important. Listen, we all know that silver and gold have been historic hedges against the uncertain waves of social chaos and unstable currencies. But did you know that there's been times in the past, during times of extreme hardship, when Americans put another store of value above even silver and gold? It's true, open-pollinated seeds have been and could very well be the ultimate store of value in the coming hard times ahead. Go to survivalseedbank.com to get heirloom seeds below wholesale. Visit survivalseedbank.com this week and get hundreds of dollars in free bonuses. Beat the coming chaos, beat rising food prices, but above all, don't wait. Beat the crowds by claiming your own Survival Seed Bank today.
What if you could cut your heating bills this winter with your existing wood-burning fireplace and not spend thousands doing it? You can with Great Wall of Fire fireplace grates. Our U.S. patented made-in-America Wall of Fire grates increase fireplace efficiency, eliminate fireplace smoke problems, and come with a 30-day money-back guarantee. See our grates in action and get free shipping from walloffire.com or call 800-274-7364. Fireplace heat without fireplace smoke. walloffire.com.
The political world is a maddening cesspool of corruption and lies. Nobody tells the truth. Nobody keeps campaign promises. Nobody obeys the Constitution. Nobody puts the people first. How can we ever escape this web of tyranny? Vote for nobody.
Hi, my name is Nobody. I'm running for governor of New Hampshire because nobody knows how to live your life better than you do, and nobody deserves that kind of power. I want to put you back in control of your money, your lifestyle, your work, your body, and your life. Nobody should rule you but you. New Hampshire convicts many people of so-called crimes that should never have been prosecuted. If elected, I will pardon every victimless crime in New Hampshire history. This includes drug, gambling, prostitution, gun, and driving offenses. Nobody should have a criminal record when they have not harmed anybody.
Wouldn't it be nice to have nobody telling you what to do? Learn more at electnobody.com. electnobody.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
It is Free Talk Live. You're invited to join us here. The toll-free number is 855-450-FREE, like freedom.
Join us.
With you tonight, it's Ian,
the captain.
And, of course, you can take control of the airwaves. You can bring up anything you want. We were talking about non-cooperation and how if you want this to end, this meaning the insanity of COVID-19 and all the mask mandates and all the other mandates and the lockdowns and et cetera.
And it can start with such a simple thing, too, right? That's what I was kind of trying to say before we went to the break. But just saying no occasionally, right?
Just like Nancy Reagan.
Yeah. Just say no. But, like, say no to things like, if you're, confronted by somebody who appears to be of some sort of authority and they ask you something, you just go, no.
Just say no.
Just go no.
And also, better yet, while you say no, record it.
Indeed.
Get video of these people trying to tell you what to do and you refusing. And then post it online so other people can see, hey, you can refuse this and survive. Now, in some cases, you may get attacked. There may be some psycho cop out there that decides that they want to just make a show of
They've got it out for you.
And come down hard on you.
I'm going to make you an example,
there
boy.
There are risks to this, okay? I do want to make that clear. What I'm talking about does include risk. But if you don't do anything, then you're risking your freedom in that it is going to be taken away and there's no chance that you're going to get it back.
What is the phrase or the saying? You only get as much freedom as you allow to be taken away from you or something like that.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Let's go back
allow to be taken
to your calls and thoughts, though. Also, be sure to check out freetalklive.com. There are a myriad of features there, downloadable archives and interactive chat rooms with other listeners and such. It's freetalklive.com. I do still have David on the line here in New Mexico, and he's making some good points about not going along to get along, and I like that kind of stuff. So go ahead, David.
Yeah, so back to a story. Last time I talked to you guys, I was telling you about a Sheriff Darren White who's got a radio show in Albuquerque, and he's a perfect example of what you're talking about before I got on the call today when you said there are these people that think they were sent by God to control your lives, however you worded it, I don't remember. But he's a perfect example of it, and he's in a perfect position. You can all hear what I'm saying. All you got to do is look for Darren White show on KKOB radio and listen to the moron, and it's on podcast, so you don't have to catch him live. Perfect example of a statist. And I gave you one example of one of the things he said the other day, and I'll remember what it was in a second. But another thing that he said, he was talking about this Kyle Rittenhouse kid that got himself in trouble when he was out protecting property in the riots in Kenosha a few weeks back, whatever it was. And the statement that this Sheriff Darren White on the radio said about this kid is, he said that leave protecting property to the professionals. Don't protect your own property. You're not trained. You're not a professional.
What a load.
You shouldn't do it. Yeah, leave it for the government to protect your property.
Yeah,
well, they're mistaking government for professionals.
Yeah, the government police where, you need them in seconds and they're just hours away or minutes away, right? Yeah, they're going to protect you. Sure.
Right, exactly. And so here's a real live example of something that I had a court hearing the other day, and the judge said to me, "Good morning, Mr. Olson." I said, "No, it's not."
Yeah.
I stand up to them at every. I don't let them coast at all. You stand up to them at every single turn until they learn, before they ever open their mouth, judges included, that if they say something that's not acceptable, you're going to call them on it.
All right. It'd be a good morning if I weren't here. If I were anywhere else but in this court hearing, it'd be a good morning.
Right. So you stop them immediately. You don't give them a freaking inch. And another thing that I do is government employees. All of you government employees, you need to start looking for a job in the private sector, because your government is going to be going away piece by piece by piece, and your pension's going to disappear. Even the one that you contracted for 20 years ago, where you get 90% in retirement of your working salary.
Like the cops do.
What? No way. It's going away. There's going to be a deal made, and you're going to lose like half your pensions.
Excellent.
So don't be counting on it. Yeah. And so what you government workers need to do is you need to start looking for a different job. And also, if you continue along the line that you're on now, if you keep beating up on us, we're going to shun you. Your name is Sheriff Darren White. People need to shun you in your private life. Don't associate with that piece of at all, Sheriff Darren White. Don't buy his pot from his pot business in New Mexico. Don't buy from Sheriff Darren White. Buy your pot from a different sheriff, because this sheriff is
Thank you, David, for your call tonight.
That guy's on fire.
I do appreciate the passion. I definitely do. Let's continue. We're going to the phone lines on our Discord server, the Discord call-in lines. You can join them and the Discord server over at discord.lrn.fm. He calls himself New Normal D's Nuts. He's on the air.
It's a fantastic name.
You're on Free Talk Live, calling from North Idaho.
So I wanted to bring it back around to what you were talking about earlier, where you need to resist. So up here in North Idaho, we unfortunately have a mask mandate. And probably in the first couple days, people conformed, and then businesses finally realized this is dumb. The mandate's ridiculous. There's countless restaurants here in the downtown that do not even enforce it on their employees. You can go just about anywhere, except for a few restaurants that have kind of conformed in corporations, and no one wears it. I mean, it's almost like most up here is normal. However, I work just over the border in Washington, and I work for a corporation over there, and they enforce the masks. And I've had a couple coworkers who, they'll tell me, "Oh, I get mad when I see someone in here not wearing a mask." And a lot of them say that because we have an assistant manager who actually has claustrophobia, and she has to go into her car and take her mask off to deal with the panic attacks that are caused by being forced.
Has to put herself in an enclosed area to deal with her fear of enclosed areas.
Yeah, it's a little ironic, but it's like the only place she can not wear it.
Right.
The strange thing is Home Depot actually allows you to, do a medical exemption, but almost no one has ever gotten one, and the supervisors are basically kind of like, yeah, you can, but you shouldn't because you're, up in this position in the corporation.
Right.
So people know her, and she wears it all the time. So it's kind of like, oh, I'm mad at these people. And I've talked to some of these employees, and it's like, well, why are you mad at them for not wearing it? It's the corporation that enforces it. And it's people like them that come in here not wearing these, as they increase it and do it more often. And whenever I see them, I thank them for being normal.
Nice.
It's those people that are going to help us, give us the chance to return to normalcy. And most of them that I've had this talk with, even though they're angry at the people, they're like, oh, well, yeah, you're right. I hate it too. It's making my face break out, or it's, it's wearing away at my chin. I have to wear a Band-Aid. They're fed up. It really is what people are calling the silent majority.
I hope you're right about that. And I'm glad to hear that there's some pushback and people refusing to go along to get along.
Yeah, I like what you do, like pointing out it's normal. I try to do the same thing when I'm in a public area, a store, whatever, and I see somebody else unmasked. I go, normal face, and I smile at them and wave or say, hey, and they're like, hey, normal face, right? And it's kind of a club just to remind everybody that this is what it's like to be normal.
I will say, ever since the CDC put out those new numbers, I have seen what was normally about a 98% mass conforming rate drop quite a bit. I've seen probably about 75%, maybe a little bit higher, but it's more people now that are
the
just
sad
like,
part
no,
is that
it's
just means
nonsense.
that people still care about what the government says, right? So they believe the CDC up front, they believe them now, and these are government people. They're lying to you. It's a guarantee that what they're saying is probably not true in more than one way, and people still don't really internalize that. While they do realize that politicians are liars, they still seem to think that government agencies aren't. These people are run by politicians.
And then there's we'll call it the intellectual curve, where it's monkey see, monkey do. Everybody else is wearing a mask, I guess I should wear a mask, and just don't even question it. They just go through, I guess everybody else is doing it.
Hey, thanks, New Normal D's Nuts. I definitely appreciate hearing from you tonight. Oh, man, it's been a hell of a weekend already. We're only halfway through. Aria DiMezzo, of course, making huge news today for her campaign for sheriff. It's blowing up. It's going to keep going all night long as people internationally start to get the story from places like the UK, where there's been a couple of stories there that have been written about it. Again, tomorrow morning, I'm looking forward to seeing how many
perhaps
pickups.
in Australia.
Yeah, I'm expecting the AP is going to grab it overnight, and then it's going to be in a bunch of newspapers tomorrow, and Aria is going to get some interviews, and it's going to be a very exciting week, and we will see how it develops. We'll bring it to you here on Free Talk Live.
We'll see you next time.
Between now and the next time, which is tomorrow night, because we do this thing 7 nights a week here, 7 to 10 at night Eastern Time, you can join us online anytime you want over at freetalklive.com. Check out the captain on his website, lcaptainkickass.com, for some song parodies and fun. See you tomorrow. Have a great weekend.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had got involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third